All right, we're up and going here. As always, I'm going to wait a little while to start getting to the meat of things whoa, that's loud. Okay. While some people trickle in here, share this once again to the Facebooks. I'm pretty sure I might even have the same. I might even have this saved. Paste. Nope. Link expired. Oh well. Oh wow, that does look better. All right, so we upped our internet a month or so ago, and so I had forgotten to test this, but I was going to raise the video quality. Wrong direction. There we go. I'd raised the video quality a little bit, and it seems to be handling it without screaming at me. So, and the mics should actually sound good this time because I remember that too. So, not that you want to see this in HD, but yeah, I'm pretty sure this thing's on. Testing. Been there, done that, got the t-shirt. The drink of choice tonight is mango bubbly sparkling water. Like it a bunch because it's a little bit of flavor. This would be really good for somebody getting off pop or something, because I got a bunch of different flavors, and you're going to notice it right away that it doesn't have the sugar in it. But once you get used to the flavor without the sugar actually gets kind of cloying. So reminds you of drinking pop without actually drinking pop. So howdy everybody so far. I've got several things to talk about. Of course, we're going to talk about the new ones I've got sitting right here next to me. I've also got my my new Dexter 9s HT boas sitting here that we're going to talk about those as well. I wish I could get you a view of what they look like on the... Every time I go to hold them up, the light doesn't hit them quite right, but when the light hits them right, they shine like they're super bright. And just leaving them in the chair here, they're super bright. Mr. Bill Walker, I actually don't think that I thanked him yet, but he sent me this. So this is a core out of the rain. So this is an old half ball he found laying around somewhere. But the cool thing, you can't see it. It's actually signed by Wendy McPherson. So that's very cool. So thank you once again, Mr. Bill, for sending me that. You can't quite see it sitting here, but that's really, really cool. I might have to start collecting these because these are actually really cool. And I like the quarter balls better because they're lighter than the half balls. But I might just have to start collecting stuff. Let me wait a couple more minutes there. Got a decent crowd already, so I might get started. For all of you who aren't catching this live and are watching later, I won't delay too much here. Yeah, the HT boas are absolutely amazing. We're going to talk about those a little bit, and I do have a review coming up. I just haven't gotten it finished yet. I should be able to finish it this weekend. Yes, Jeremy, we're actually going, for everybody crying about the Spec cover, we're going to talk about that, and there's an interesting little caveat there. I posted a question a couple days ago in my community tab on Facebook. Every once in a while, you should get a notification. If you have your notifications on, or if you're subscribed to the channel, you should get a notification even when I post something in the community tab. I'll post polls in there every once in a while, and I did pose a question about, because there's a lot of people that I think are just wanting to dislike the Spec cover because it's something new, and most people who've thrown the balls and have thrown them for a while know it's pretty awesome if you get it, if you understand it. But I lost my train of thought. No, I posted something in the community tab, just a little post, and said, okay, well, what ball do you not get along with? Because I see a lot of people talking about stuff of, well, I don't like this ball, or I threw it for a game and it didn't match up, or they describe a ball reaction and then do exactly the opposite of what they need to do to fix it, or it's not the right ball for their game, or it's not whatever else. And so I posted a question: which ball did you not get along with the most, or which ball gave you the most amount of trouble? And the answers were kind of what I expected, unfortunately. Now, fortunately, A lot of things are just ignorance, and ignorance is kind of a bad word. Ignorance doesn't mean stupid. It just means you don't know something. Uneducated and ignorant are kind of given as insults now. I really don't think they should be insults, because uneducated just means you haven't been taught, and ignorant means you just don't know something. That's all they mean. And so I'm ignorant about a lot of stuff, and I'm uneducated about a lot of stuff, and I have no qualm saying that, because it's not an insult to my intelligence. Those things and intelligence, you can have somebody that's highly educated and not very intelligent, and you can also have somebody that's very intelligent without being educated. So, anyhow, that's a little rambling topic for that. So, let's see here. Okay, so what I'm going to start with is, I had an idea. There's all kinds of people that are asking me, say, okay, well, I'd like to see this ball compared to this ball, or I'd like to see this, or I know I haven't done any Angel videos for the last several. Now, she did get an Evolve and an All-Road in a couple days ago. Hopefully I can get those made. The problem most of the time is just time. And I did finally get my new computer in, and it's amazing. It makes making videos so much easier, because like if I make a video that's 6 minutes long, on the old computer it used to take 10 minutes roughly, depending on how many things I had stacked on the board, how many videos and overlays and tricks and whatever else. But it would take about 10 minutes to render 1 minute of video. And so if I'm looking at 7-minute video, I'm looking at an hour 10 anyway, and most of the time I've been stacking more things on top of each other. And so when it hits like those overlay shots where I have 3 over top of each other, well, that's 3 HD video clips that are stacked one on top of another, and so it really slows down the rendering there. So most of the time, 7-8 minute long video takes about an hour and a half, hour and 45. Well, with the new computer, it's about a 1:2 or 1:3 ratio at the worst. And so if I have a 5-minute video, the most it's going to take is 15 minutes to render the video. I used to have to click render and go off somewhere else and just do something, because I couldn't do anything else on the computer while the video was rendering. I couldn't upload, I couldn't start editing another video, I couldn't do anything. And so that was just a bunch of lost time there. Now it almost renders so fast that I don't have time to start setting up to make the next video or whatever. So that's made life a whole lot easier, and that's why I've put out a few more videos here recently, and I've got a bunch more that are getting ready to go. This last weekend, when I edited all the videos for the reviews, it took me 1 day, and it never takes me 1 day. It's always a couple reviews, is always a 2-day process, 3-day process with drilling and filming. So new computers made things fantastic, but I still work out of town most of the time. As anyone knows that's watched the stream, because I think I mention that all the time. But I just don't, we were into a bunch of stuff, and I just don't have the time for a lot of this stuff. So the rambling of the point of this rambling for the last like 5 minutes now is that I'm going to start doing something, and I also want to give you some channels to check out, because there's a lot of people popping up, and there's a lot of people starting to make videos now, which is really cool, because number one, it takes some pressure off me, and it also gives you a diversity of content. So it's not just, I hear a lot of people say, well, there's some people that do it and they're not very good at it, and so I watch your videos and I watch Tamer's videos, and that's kind of it. Well, there's a lot more that I personally watch that I like, because everybody has their own little everybody has their own little things that they do, and there's some people that do things that I really like, and I think that are unique, and they're doing their content. They're not trying to copy somebody else. They had an idea and they're seeing it through. And some people do kind of the normal thing where you show the ball reaction and you talk over it or whatever, but they do it really well. So I wanted to point out a few people, and there's also something new that I'm going to be doing on my channel too, involving all these other people, which is really cool. So the channels that I would highly recommend you checking out. Number one, Tamer Bowling. If you don't know, you can't watch ball reviews and not know Tamer. So if you somehow have not heard of Tamer before, you need to check out Tamer Bowling. He's probably got 12,000, 13,000 subs by now. He does all the brands. not just Storm and Roto, but he does such a good job with all of them, and he really knows ball reaction, and he gets into the little details and the nuances that most people don't, and he spends about a tenth of the time rambling about them that I do. So he's very quick, he's very concise, he gets to the heart of the matter, and he explains things really well. So Tamara Bowling is at the top of the list. He's been doing it for a long time, very, very good at it. Brad and Kyle, of course, if you got to know Brad and Kyle, they're just fun to watch. They don't do a whole lot of ball review stuff, and Brad takes an interesting twist on it that he explains it from his perspective of how he would use it on tour, and it's not. Sometimes things are really, really unconventional out there, and so sometimes they'll use like really, really strong equipment on short and dry patterns just to blend out the reaction, not because they need the hook, but they're so good about manipulating the ball reaction themselves that sometimes they can do things that sound wrong that actually work perfectly because they know what they're doing. And so Brad has a very, very interesting twist on stuff. He was at Storm HQ last week before, but he put out a video. They did a video together on the All Road, and that was really good. So you can check that out on Storm Bowling. You can also see Brad's stuff. Kyle, of course, is with EBI, and so if you're inclined to go that direction, I don't know much about the EBI stuff. So if you're inclined to go that direction, then they've got both of that on the channel, which is cool to have that kind of diversity. Because I know other people make things too. The next one is Fred Callahan Performance Bowling, I think. I like the way that Fred does his stuff because he's really quick and to the point, and instead of rambling like I do, he puts little text boxes on the screen, and so he really sums up. He throws a few shots, and then there's a text box and says, well, I really like this about this, and he talks about stuff that you've just seen. So he'll throw a few shots, and it's like, oh, well, I really like this. So it's one of those things where it's like he throws a couple shots, and then he notices something, and then he writes it down, and he throws a couple more shots, notices something different, and then he writes that down, and then he puts that together in a video. So it's a very organic way of. That's the same way I do it. I just don't put it on the video like he does. So I think that's a really smart way to make simple points. Take a little small section of ball reaction and say, okay, I see this. Now I see this. Well, now I'm seeing this. And so Fred makes really smart videos. I like, and he's really busy, and so he doesn't get to everything, and he doesn't get to everything super quick. But sometimes you need time for things to percolate a little bit, because I've got my videos up yesterday, and you still can't get the ball for 3 more weeks. This is mine's kind of a precursor, but once they've been out for a little while, it's nice to have it refreshed or see something new, so you can also say, okay, well, that's exactly what I'm seeing out of mine too, or that's not quite what I'm seeing, but you can develop kind of a relationship between what he sees versus what you see. Casey Murphy is the next one. He's kind of a big name out of Springfield, Missouri. He's been pretty successful and been in the game for a while, and he does just your basic ball reaction stuff. He has a few notes that he puts on the screen, but he just shows you ball reaction, and that appeals to somebody like me. I don't need somebody breaking down every little nuance of the ball reaction. I would actually prefer to just see the ball reaction myself and get my own thoughts. So Casey's videos are perfect for me because he shows it on repeat. I mean, it's just several shots over and over and over again, so you can see everything that's going on without really any frills, without without the distraction of somebody talking. I've often told people, watch my videos without the sound off the first time, develop your own opinion. If you want to know what mine is, then turn the sound on. I know it's helpful for people just getting into it or people that have trouble reading ball reaction, but I really like Casey's stuff because he just gives you the ball reaction. Next one is Kenan McFalls. He's a pretty successful, he's not in juniors anymore, but a pretty successful youth bowler. I saw him at the U.S. Open in Wichita in October, November last year, so it's almost been a year since the U.S. Open last year, which is kind of funny. Kenan makes videos kind of similar to mine, but he does it in his own style, and he's also super, super honest about what he sees. He's not he's not brown nosing to keep getting his contract or trying to hype up or say great things about every single ball that comes out, because not every ball that comes out matches up with everybody. So he gives it to you really straight. And his videos are half as long as mine are. So he gets to the point a whole lot faster. And he's your traditional show you some ball reaction, tell you what's going on, and Toxo, I forgot what I was going to say. And he shows you some comparison balls, so the format is kind of similar to what mine is, but it's quite a bit more efficient, and he just does it really, really well. So Kenan McFalls. Next one is JR Pro Shop and Jordan Jung, and these guys take a little bit longer to review. They go a little bit more in depth. They have to where they're talking about it at first, and him and a buddy of his have kind of a conversation about it, about what they're both seeing out of the ball, and then they show you some reaction, then they talk some more, and then they show you some more reaction. So for somebody that really wants a super in-depth look and some conversation and everything all wrapped up into one, plus they're pretty funny too. These videos, despite being, I think the couple that I watched were around 10 minutes, 10, 11, 12 minutes long, which is a little bit long for a ball reaction video. Normally, though, I watch 30 to 45 seconds of something. I'm like, okay, I've seen what I need to see, and I'm gone. I watch the entire video from these guys because they're really entertaining, and they kind of know how to talk to you, and they know how to keep you engaged. And they kept me engaged for the whole 10 or 11 minutes. And for somebody that messes with all this stuff as often as I do, and I go out and get the film, and then I have to watch it 17 million times while I'm putting the video together. Last thing I want to do is pull up somebody's YouTube video and look at more ball reaction. But these guys are really entertaining, and they have good content too. And so JR Pro Shop. Now, the Bowling Fix is another one down in Wichita. One of my friends, Corey Clausing, runs that, and Austin Bolds and Jared Hromick, I think, have showed up on a couple of his videos. They do the Storm Roto stuff. He also does Jordan Freed, I think, does the Ebonite stuff, or he did the Ebonite stuff. But he has most of the companies represented. I think he's trying to. He's still in the process of building. I think he said they got to 1,000 subs here pretty recently, but they make good stuff too. They're kind of a blend between all this other stuff. There is some commentary, there is some ball reaction, but they keep it pretty simple and to the point too. And those are really good videos. Austin and Jared both Jared Hromick and Jared Freed, different spellings. They both throw it really, really good. So the videos are great. You're watching very good bowlers, and you're getting a nice, even blend of everything. You're not getting strictly ball reaction. You're not getting kind of over the top, I'm explaining every little thing to you. You're getting a nice little blend of what's going on. A couple more here. Cassie Williamson Shoemate. She just started off here. I think she's got 4 videos. She just started off here pretty recently. But she's, hopefully I pronounced Shoemate right. It looks like Shoemate or Shoemate, something like that. But females are really underrepresented on YouTube, and so it's nice to see them get into the space. And it's not just for females, because there's a lot of guys that play straighter, especially the older bowlers that come from old school bowling. They didn't have the 500 rev rate guys playing fourth arrow 35 years ago, and so they're used to going kind of up the boards. And if you Cassie has that kind of similar style where she can get in a little bit, but she looks really good just giving it the business right down the boards. And so yeah, she doesn't have a whole lot of videos under her belt yet, but she's got more coming. I've talked to her about my idea that I'm going to explain here as soon as I get done rambling about everybody. Cassie makes great videos. The next one is Kari Brunner. I think it's Carrie. Carrie would be with a C. I always think Kari when I see a K. Kari Brunner, Carrie Bruner, whatever. I got it close. Carrie Bruner Bowling, kind of the same idea as Cassie. Carrie plays pretty straight. She has a pretty low rev rate. She plays nice and direct, but it's a breath of fresh air. Her and Cassie are kind of a breath of fresh air for everybody that are kind of overseeing the 500 rev rates and, you know, everybody bending the entire lane. So they're going to give you probably a look at more what you bowl like, because there's very few league bowlers who twist it up like most of the people doing ball videos. And so they're going to be a real breath of fresh air. They've both recently gotten started here, but they're building up some steam. And so definitely Cassie Williamson Shoemate and Kari Brunner. I hope I'm saying those right. But definitely check those out if you're a lower rev rate, higher speed, straighter bowler. Those are going to be right up your alley. Josh Shoemaker, ball reviews. Check him out. He's gotten established over the last 6-8 months or so. He's a two-hander, and he kind of does. He's got a nice blend of everything too. He talks a little bit at you and describes the ball reaction. Shows you several different looks at stuff. Does some comparisons. And so Josh is one of those guys that's kind of figured out what his angle is, and he's kind of like Kennan. He keeps it simple, to the point, describes the ball reaction, shows you a couple comparisons, and doesn't ramble at you forever like I do. Another one, kind of the same grain, Rubright ball reviews. Matthew Rubright, another kind of in the same vein as Josh. And to avoid just continuing to talk, and when everybody wants to talk about the new ones, continue to talk about all of these. The point is that between me and Tamer, we only offer a couple bowlers, and we offer a couple of different angles and a couple different surfaces. If you go to all these, Tamer Bowling, Brad and Kyle, Fred Callahan, Casey Murphy, Kenan McFalls, JR Pro Shop, and with Jordan Jung, the Bowling Fix, Cassie Williamson Shoemate, Kari Brunner bowling, Josh Shoemaker ball reviews, and Rubright ball reviews, you're going to see a whole bunch of stuff. And I'm mentioning these because I like what they do. I think they're very high quality stuff, and I would highly recommend checking every single one of them out, because you're going to see different looks from every single one of them. They're going to have different thoughts. They're going to have different perspectives. They're going to have, you know, different lane patterns, different surfaces, different layouts, all kinds of different everything. So if you don't feel like you're getting the entire picture from me or Tamer, you've got all these great reviewers out here now to go check out, and I would highly recommend that. The last one I'm going to recommend, and he's not even a Storm guy, but Wesley Lowe makes great stuff. It's just entertaining to watch. I don't throw Ebonite stuff, not going to throw Ebonite stuff, but I really like watching his ball reviews because he's excited about it. It's super organic, because it's just Wesley loves bowling and Wesley does Wesley, and he's great. He's funny. He's really personable. He's just excited to be Wesley Lowe, and it's not, and he's the least cocky person that I've probably ever met in the higher echelons of somebody that's had success and somebody that has a whole bunch of skill and a whole bunch of potential. He's just cool. He's just enjoys being Wesley, not because he thinks he's a hot shot, but just because he loves what he's doing. And that's so great to see. The genuine organic energy that he has is really good. So I would highly recommend that you look, even if you have no interest in Ebonite bowling balls. They're fun videos to watch. Now that brings me, all of this for the last 10 or 15 minutes brings me to the idea that I had to kind of because a lot of these, I'm sure that you haven't heard of most of these before, because the way that the YouTube algorithms work, they work on popularity, which is likes. And if you don't have a whole bunch of likes, you're not going to show up on the front page of the search results. You may not show up on the second page or even the third page if you don't. So if you don't have a whole bunch of views or a whole bunch of likes, it's really hard to get traction early on. So the idea that I had, plus this helps diversify my own content and get you guys a little bit more stuff, is 1-minute reviews. So whenever, and not all, I'm not going to do it with all of these, but several of them are interested, they're going to make a short little video, just a short little 1-minute Reader's Digest version of their full review. I'm going to post that to my channel, and then I'm going to have the link to the full review on their channel so that you can go check it out. So even if you're not listening right now, even if you're not watching this, which if you're not listening right now or not watching this, then I'm probably not talking to you anyway. But to let all of you know, you'll be seeing you'll be seeing these 1-minute reviews pop up, and they're gonna be kind of staggered. They're not all gonna pop up at the same time because everybody gets to videos at a different point. So I'm gonna have a 1-minute review for the Evolve and the All-Road. I might get one from Kenan. I might get one from Cassie a week later. I might get one from Kari a week after that. So just little short, to the point. Hey, my name is such and such. This is the new ball. This is how I have it laid out. This is what I notice about the ball. If you like what you're seeing, go check out my full review on my channel, subscribe, and you'll get to see all of their stuff. So it helps diversify my content a little bit. It helps get their channel off the ground and get the wheels going a little bit. It's just good for everybody, and so I'm super excited about getting that going. So, wow, let me check my stream. Plug for RevStorm channel. Okay, Jeremy Scott. Plug for RevStorm channel. Now let's do that. RevStorm. I haven't actually done. There's several out there that I don't know about. The JR Pro Shop, Jordan Jung, was one that I didn't know about myself, and I posted in our Storm Facebook group about anybody that did videos, and he popped up, and I really liked the videos, and I'm glad he said something. And I think that you're going to be glad that he sent me something, because you're going to like the videos too. Average Joe Reviews started doing Storm also. I've got okay, I'm going to check up. Mango Bubbly sounds fancy. It's from 15 minutes ago. No, it's actually not. Well, I mean, it's sparkling water. What the crap was that? Oh, okay. I've still got Discord on. For some reason. Tut, 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 tut. Yes, and I haven't mentioned this yet because they're not out there yet, but James Niffen Jr. will have a channel coming up. I don't know when that's happening. I'm not trying to rush him. But James Niffen Jr., the guy that won the contract match with Dougie Vision, Dougie Heron, a couple months ago at the UBA Battle Bowl, who also, now that I'm thinking about this, I'm glad that I remembered this. I'm glad the wife said something. James shot 856 a couple nights ago with his physics. And he had the front 9 all 3 games. He went 77, 379. So that's a monster set with the physics again. So congratulations, James. I'm never going to get close to 850. So 825 was always the number that I was looking at, and I got that a couple years ago. And so everybody would like to shoot 800, but it's a little stressful. So I don't really care if I shoot 800 again. It's nice to knock the pins over like that, but I'm pretty content if I throw the ball well. If I can at least throw the ball well, I will take what I get. It's when I'm not throwing the ball well that I get frustrated. So I don't really 800 is not really something that you expect very often unless you're James Niffen Jr. But so yeah, 856 is a monster number. You have to throw it really, really well, and you have to catch some breaks in there too. But he said that there was only a couple shots that he thought were questionable, so that's ridiculous. All right. Learning ball motion. Yeah. There's like I said. There's Gene Page. No, not stupid. There are several stupid bowlers, but ignorance and lack of education is not a knock on intelligence. Those two things are not linked. I work with engineers. Trust me. Trust. Amount of education and knowledge has nothing to do with your intelligence. So. Yeah, thanks, James, for taking. Yeah, James is kind of managing my chat here, so I apologize for all the stuff that I'm not checking in the chat while I'm rambling on about stuff. So thank you, James, for keeping up on that so I don't have to go back and hit every single one of these. Yeah, and I was just talking to James earlier because I started, and that's actually one of my next points that I'm going on to here eventually is the topic or the question I posted in my community tab about which balls you didn't match up with or which ones you had the hardest time with. James has a very different angle than most people have. He keeps a spreadsheet of different balls, different layouts, the surfaces he keeps them at for each specific slot in his bag. So if he needs something that's kind of medium hook potential with an arc shape, he's got everything kind of broken down into what it does. And all the feedback that I've been getting from that question that I asked kind of confirmed what I'd been thinking about to begin with, but nobody really digs into that in ball reviews. They kind of talk about that specific ball reaction, say, okay, well it's above this ball, but it's under this ball, and that's about as far as they go. James is going to dig deeper into the technical stuff and tell you about where it should go, where it should fit within your whole arsenal, and talk about the different shapes you need to have and the hook potentials and surfaces and different layouts and all that stuff. He's going to get really into the technical stuff, and that's something that's pretty lacking out there, and he does it well, and it's going to be very, very efficient. Most people don't get into the technical stuff because they can't make it efficient. It's boring technical stuff, and they spend forever on it. But he can get everything down into a little paragraph and tell you everything that you need to know in 30 seconds about each ball. And so I think that those are going to be good once he gets those off the ground. So yes. Luke Lackey, 290, 278, 290 Idle Pro. That's a heck of a set. Heck of a set too. Yes, James says also to point out, yes, it'll be a bit more technical, but it's all designated. It's all designed to also simplify how to build an arsenal. Figure out all the slots you need, then fill those slots. Exactly. So he just put into a paragraph what just took me 2 or 3 minutes to say. So that, it's proving my point right there. Yeah, Dougie Vision jersey in the house. Yeah, have you seen the Marvel Max Force? Yes, and I want one. Don't forget J.R. Raymond. J.R. Raymond is kind of back and forth for me. I like the angle that's like, okay, well, we're gonna throw the ball and see what it does, and then we're gonna talk about it a little bit. But he doesn't have enough time with the longer format of those videos. He doesn't have very much time to throw shot after shot after shot, or put several games on a ball before he gets into the videos. And so sometimes it's a little frustrating watching and saying, well, if you had a little bit more, like the Gravity Evolve video that he did, it was pretty good. But when a ball is fresh, this is another video I'm going to do. Hopefully I can do it with Russ Wilson or Alex Hardman at Jayhawk Bowling Supply with their surface scanner. If you find Jayhawk Bowling Supply's channel and you pull up the surface scanner, I think that they did a comparison and they showed you how quickly a ball goes from box surface, especially if it's like 2000 grit or something, how quickly it goes from box surface to shiny, and it takes a couple games. And so most of the time balls take 5 to 10, even 15 games to kind of get broken in. Everything takes some time to get broken in. So the idea that you take a fresh ball right out of the box and you throw 10 shots with it and kind of form an opinion about it is, you're missing a lot. And so, but at the same time, the value there is that everybody gets an idea about something really quickly. If it comes right out of the box and you don't like it instantly, the first several shots kind of determines your opinion. After that point, you just kind of get familiar with it, but everybody seems to know in the first 5 shots whether they like the ball or not. Now, he is pretty accurate about saying, okay, well, I think this is going to end up being this, or it's going to end up slotting here. That stuff he's pretty accurate with, but the ball reaction is kind of wonky sometimes. So that's the only thing to point out there about his stuff. And which is another thing that I'm going to talk about here when I get down the list of my stuff here. So Yeah. Yeah, Michael, James pretty well hit it. All road compared to the IQ Emerald. Yeah, they have similar, they're really similar situations, but the way they get done, what they get done is pretty different. So it's interesting because they've got, I've had a couple questions now about the All Road versus the Emerald or the IQ Solid, and they're pretty opposite balls. The IQs have very low RGs, very low differentials, and weaker cover stocks. The All Road has a very high RG core, a medium-ish high differential, and a really strong cover stock on it. And so the things that these balls are going to do are kind of all over the place. They're, aside from comparing a Gravity Evolved to a Hustle Inc., you're not going to get too, I mean, you're not going to get more different ball makeups, but the combination of all that stuff kind of puts them in the same little realm. It just depends on the conditions you're on and the transition. You'd use them again, like you said, in similar situations, but they're different. So that's kind of hard to dial in on that. So have a halo and intense fire. Would these two balls be good in my bag, or what I see overlap? You're going to see a little bit of overlap with the Evolve and the Halo. James and I seem to agree that the Gravity Evolve feels like if they made a solid physics, that's what the Gravity Evolve feels like. Or if you had a virtual gravity nano, the Evolve feels like a combination of the original virtual gravity and the virtual gravity nano. It's got a little bit more shape than the nano, but not quite as much shape as the original virtual gravity. So the Halo is, it's not super close to the Evolve, but there's enough overlap there to where I personally wouldn't carry them both in the same bag. And if I wouldn't carry them both in the same bag, there's a really small chance that anybody else would, because I can take a bunch of stuff that overlaps in hook potential everywhere. Like I take my Idle Pro and my ProMotion, and now I'm taking the Gravity Evolve. The All Road doesn't quite have enough. It doesn't roll soon enough. I prefer lower RG stuff. It doesn't quite roll soon enough for me to get into it in League. It'll be going to tournaments if I have longer formats, or the double singles day where we bowl 6 games. It'll probably go for that. But and the intense fire is not going to overlap with anything, so you're not going to need to worry about that. Yeah, Tom Sorcy's channel. Again, he doesn't. He takes a while to get to balls, and I think by the time he gets to videos, everybody's kind of ready to move on to something else. But like James says, he's got good stuff. He just doesn't get the stuff out there super quick. Has the High Road X compared to the All Road? I think if you put some surface, they would be the High Road X would be a ball to ball down from the All Road 2 if you want to stay in the same part of the lane with the same type of look once the lanes transition. The High Road X kind of feels like a super shiny, long and flippy All Road because they have the same kind of shape through the pins. The All Road just spreads it out over a longer period of time than the High Road X does. But you could literally stand in the same place doing the same thing. If the All Road starts hooking too much and you don't want to move, then you could go right into the High Road X and have the same kind of look once the lanes transition. So. All right, so we're going to talk about the next point after the 1-minute reviews, so those should be really good. My Dexter, and I will have a video for these. It's just don't have the time for stuff. I did finally get everything ready to film the video. I just had to film the video and put it together. But the 9 HT boas, these have got the color changing thing. They look kind of dark right now, but it's depending on how the light kind of hits them. So some places they don't shine a whole lot, but if you get sunlight, makes these things light up like crazy. So if you walked outside on a bright sunny day, people would take notice, like they're bright. Down here the light's not quite catching them right to kind of bedazzle or whatever, but I've got I'm gonna have some good angles on my video. These are extremely cool. They have the boa system, which is the lacing, and use this little dial here to tighten the laces, and the HTs are a more breathable model. They have the mesh here on the sides and in the toe. They're a more breathable model of the original 9s, and the original 9s I really like because they're super comfortable, but they don't breathe at all, and so your feet get pretty warm pretty quick. But these, you can actually feel the air moving through your feet as you're walking, so they keep your feet super cool. And I highly recommend pairing these with Big 4 socks. The Big 4 socks are amazing. Everybody I've talked to, especially that's tried the Belmo socks and was less than impressed, really likes the Big 4 socks. And the guy, David Slavin, that runs the Big 4 socks, he'll tell you. He said, if you want to try them out, just buy one pair. You don't need to buy 5 pairs now, because as soon as you buy the one pair, you'll end up buying another 4 anyway. He's like, that's so. If you want to try them out, just buy one pair. That's all it'll take to convince you, and that's seriously the way that it goes. I actually wear them for more than just bowling. As a matter of fact, I wear them so much extra that when I go to bowl, I don't have enough clean pairs, so I need to order more. So I'm definitely gonna get on there and order some more socks, because there's some other colors too, and I think he's got crew socks that came out too. Some people were saying that they don't like that they wear pants when they bowl and it kind of feels weird. They'd rather have the crew socks with jeans or slacks or whatever, and so he does have crew socks now, I'm pretty sure. I'm not sure if they're on the website yet, but I think he has crew socks. Anyhow, we're talking about the 9s here. I'm not going to know about durability. I've had these for about a month and a half, and I've already worn them quite a bit, and they did make it through the filming session with the All-Road and Gravity Evolve, and I was really wanting to put them to the test on that. Whoops. My shoe freshener. Grip sacks, life hack. Put your grip sacks, your storm-scented grip sacks, in your bowling shoes. It's a bowling freshener. It's also a way to keep them in somewhere. Storage and scent, which is awesome. I'm not going to know about durability, but again, I did put my written review on Facebook and also up on my Patreon channel. But I'm not going to know about durability probably ever, because I'm not hard on things at all. And when I say at all, I mean at all. My previous 9s, I'm still using the original soles that I bought, and they're a little dirty, but these are the original soles that I put on those when I bought them 4 years ago, 4.5 years ago, because I think they came out in June 2015, something like that. This is my original shoe cover, and I wear this, I put this on every time I go to the bathroom or go to the bar, or anytime I leave the bowler's area. I put this shoe cover on. This is the original shoe cover, and they send you 2 with the pair of shoes. This is the first shoe cover. So now I've got like 3 extra shoe covers in my bag, because this is my original shoe cover that does not have, you can't even hardly tell it's been worn, because I'm just not hard on anything. So the one part about that is I'm not going to be able to tell anybody about durability at all. So don't listen to me if I say, oh, they're holding up really well. That doesn't really mean anything coming from me. What does mean something coming from me, though, is if something falls apart for me, it is crap. I about said something else, but I caught myself. But it is absolute junk. If it falls apart for me, it doesn't hold up very long, don't buy it. Just seriously don't have anything to do with it, because if it doesn't last for me, it won't last for anybody. So anyway, back to the shoes. They're very breathable. They're very comfortable. They have the channels and the 9 technology that has the channels that allows the pad to flex with the shoes so it doesn't wear out the Velcro. It's also got the toe caps on here that actually are on the sole, and so if you're a toe dragger or something, you wear these down. Number one, they're quite a bit more durable, because I was a toe dragger. And I don't necessarily drag my toe. I just push off kind of on the side of my foot, and so I'd wear that one spot down. I got a Dexter Power Step. Just instead of buying a new pair of shoes when I was using the 8s, I just bought a Power Step. Well, once I got the 9s, the toe caps are quite a bit more durable, number one, and number two, if the toe cap goes bad, it's just another. If you wear that down, it's just another pad. It's not an entire pair of shoes. Plus, with this system here, too, you don't have the the Velcro that kind of when the when your pad starts flapping a little bit or it doesn't stay on there really well, this stuff stays. I mean, this is, like I said, this is the original one. I know you can't see that really well from there, but I know there's no on this, which is my pad that I've been using, and this is the toe cap right here that is on the pad that I've used for 4 years, and you can't, I mean, you can't tell anything. It's just in great shape. So more durable, number one. Like I said, I didn't take that with a grain of salt. But if nothing else, at least if the toe cap wears out, you just buy another pad, which is quite a bit cheaper than a pair of shoes. The color changing thing is really cool. I find myself looking at my shoes a lot. Right here, you can't really see. It's not doing a whole lot of anything. You can see a little bit there in the tongue maybe, but they get really bright, and I'll show that in the review video that I have. But those are fun to look at. And the coolest thing probably for me that I was the most interested in, I didn't need a new pair of shoes, but I saw these and had to have them because the conglomerate of everything just made me need to have them. So the BOA system with the laces here, you click down on the little disc here. So you click down on the disc, and then you turn. I don't know if you can see that, but you turn that, and it tightens the shoelaces down. And when you're ready to take your shoes off, you pop the disc back up, and the laces let go immediately. If anybody has ever been late to league or is frequently late to league, these make getting into your shoes super quick. I mean super quick. Pop that down, twist, 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 and you're done in 4 seconds. Over. And the one thing that I was worried about is because I have long, narrow feet, and so I this part really needs to get cinched up down here. I'll have way too much room in my toes, and I'll be sliding around. It'll get tight up here, but it won't get tight down here. Well, with these, you can actually control where you want the laces to compress or to tighten at. So if you just tighten this down, you can see that down here it hasn't really tightened up a whole bunch, but it's tightened up a whole lot up here. Well, what I do is when I pinch this part down here when I'm tightening the shoes. So all I have to do is pinch down near my toes, and you can see that it's cinched up quite a bit more down there. So if you want it to tighten up more up here, if you want it to tighten up more at the top, you just pinch up here, pinch in the middle here, or pinch down here while you're tightening this up, and you can control tightness like you can with a regular pair of laces. Another thing that did kind of worry me with these is that these laces are really, really thin. They're really thin. And so I was worried about potential breakage, but they have a lifetime warranty on them. And if they do happen to break for any reason, which I have not, they've had these on the 6s for a year and a half, 2 years now. I have not heard one person. And normally, if you're in several Facebook groups, you're always hearing about, oh my God, my ball cracked. You hear the same, oh my ball cracked, this manufacturer sucks, that manufacturer sucks, ball cracking stuff all over the place. Complaints all over the place. You know the drill if you're in some of these bowling discussion forums or whatever. You see the same stuff over and over again. I have not heard one single person say that their laces have broken. I'm sure that it has happened. I'm sure that it's also been kind of a freak thing because these haven't shown any signs of worrying me at all. And if they do happen to break, BOA will send you a replacement kit. So you don't have to send your shoes back to Dexter and wait like a month and a half for them to fix it. You contact BOA, they send you a kit, couple days, you're fixed, and it's no different than breaking a pair of shoelaces. And so well, what if it happens, what if it happens during league or whatever? It's no different than if your shoelaces break during league because nobody carries an extra pair of shoelaces, nobody carries an extra pair of shoes. Might be a good idea to do that even if you have regular laces or whatever, but lifetime warranty, have not heard anything. And again, if you're in these Facebook forums and you haven't heard somebody complaining about it, it's got to be bulletproof. It just has to be. So amazing, amazing shoes. They are expensive. Of course they're expensive. Price of a new bowling ball. But they're going to last you a hell of a lot longer, number one, because most people, even if they have a 3-year warranty on the ball, you're going to be throwing it for about 9 months before you're bored. I mean, maybe a little bit longer if you really like it. But these you're going to be wearing for years and years and years. So these are a great, great, great investment. Highly recommended. Highly recommend the BOA system. The color changing thing it's cool. Obviously, it's aesthetics. It's just for pretty, but it looks cool. The mesh really has the shoe breathe. They're extremely comfortable, and they're going to last for me for a long time. And I really did like the originals, but these are an improvement in every single way across the board as far as I'm concerned. Super, super happy with these. All right. The next thing I'm going to talk about is, I was talking about this a long time ago, and I still have to kind of figure out what I'm going to do and get the particulars together, but I am trying to start a second channel. Kind of do like a bowling show. I think I'm going to call it Over the Line. I was going to do a different channel for just the beer frame that I used to do, but then I thought, well, that's kind of a limited scope and whatever, and so I was just going to do beer stuff and beer reviews and kind of separate the bowling, do the bowling on this channel, and do the beer thing on that, because my brother has a brewery. I'm kind of into craft beer, not as much as he is, of course. I like drinking. He likes drinking it. He also just makes it. But I really like to make it. And the cool thing is I get to travel all across the state for my job. And so most of the time, my traveling partner likes... Oh, there's a puppy. My traveling partner likes craft beer too, and he bought a book that has all the craft breweries in Kansas. And so if we go somewhere, we'll go have a couple beers after work. So it's really cool to kind of get out and see all that. And so, it wouldn't be hard at all to take a video camera and sit down and drink a couple and talk about them or whatever. So maybe if you're in the area, or maybe if you're traveling, maybe if you're one of these people that likes, whenever you go on vacation, if you find the nearest brewery, we do the same thing. My wife's not really big into beer, but normally the breweries have really, really good foods. It's not just, it's super elevated bar food, or it's just really great food, period. So we find breweries wherever we travel to also. So I'm going to do kind of a hybrid thing. We're going to do some bowling stuff. Over the Line, of course, is a reference to Walter Sobchak in The Big Lebowski, talking to Smokey, going over the line. And we're going to try to be as honest as possible. It's not going to be affiliated with anybody. So it's going to be kind of organic content. And actually, most of the plan that I have for this is that we're going to do live streams, and you're going to come up with the questions. And we're going to try to stay away from being controversial, but we want tough questions. And I'll be able to answer them a little bit more directly, since we're not, we're going to be unaffiliated with it. So it's going to be kind of a live stream, kind of a commentary podcast. Whatever you want to call it, but I'm also going to do some craft beer reviews on there too. So hopefully I can kind of have the beer stuff that I want to have, and then have the bowling stuff. And I'm sure that the beer crowd, the normal beer crowd, isn't going to care about the bowling stuff. They just don't have to watch that. But I have no idea when this is going to start. I've been talking to people about co-hosting with me, because I don't want it to be just, it's quite a bit of fun. Like when James was here last month when we did the live stream or whatever, that was a lot more fun to have somebody to talk back and forth with. So I'm trying to find a co-host for that and figure out what's going to happen with it. So I have no idea when that's going to happen. But I can't remember what the actual channel name is. I already have some people subscribed to it, but I haven't really gotten anything going with it. So anyway, I'm not even sure why I felt the need to talk about that. Somebody got timed out, or somebody got their hand slapped. So anyway, Double J's Bowling Supply should get those LED Storm rotor grip lights for your wall there, bud. Actually, Storm was going to send me a couple. I haven't seen them yet, so I need to talk to Gary about that. But yeah, they got in some LED storm lights that they're gonna send me for the back of the set to really spruce this up. Plus, the wife and I were talking earlier about painting the wall too, and kind of jazzing this up and getting rid of these ugly outlet things here. So, anyhow, holy bork! Hopefully James is taking care of us. I see James' name popping up a whole lot, so thanks a bunch to James for new storm staffer James for taking care of most of the questions while I ramble on about my own agenda here. So, late to league guy, yep, Jeremy. Yes, so literally, you pull them out, you kick your shoes off, you pull these out, and you're done putting them on. I mean, from taking them out of your bowling bag to putting them on your feet and getting them tied up is 15 seconds. 15 seconds. So if you're late to league, I used to scramble through getting my shoes on, getting them tied, and it still goes fairly quick. But I mean, you're losing a couple shots of practice there. If you've got 5 minutes left in practice, it takes you, it's 3 minutes left before you get your shoes on and get your balls out of your bag. This will save, that'll save you at least 30, 45 seconds anyway, even if you're fast. So.
You need to scroll down. Norm said something.
Oh boy, Norm said something. All right, so thanks, James, for taking care of over the line. That's the other thing is I couldn't think of a good name for it. I couldn't think of a good angle for it. It has to have personality and it has to have some kind of direction to it. And I'm going to use some Big Lebowski quotes and I'm going to try to make my own little soundboard. But yeah, over the line, because we're going to kind of talk about something and we're going to decide, is this over the line? Is this reasonable? Is this fair? Or did it go too far? So stuff like that. General idea. Let's see. And I am going to talk about the spec cover. So Ricky, I'm glad you asked something about the spec cover because we are going to talk about that. I do want to talk about that. So hang on. I do have to scroll down and see what the crap Norm put. A Gravity Evolve Crux Prime a promotion. I'll walk into Lou Tang's Lou Pub. You're the owner of the pub and they all want to know what burger beer combo you'd recommend. What do you tell each to get? The Gravity Evolve definitely feels like IPA. Gravity Evolve definitely feels like an IPA kind of ball. Burger beer combo. Gravity Evolve. They're gonna get. It's a citrusy IPA. How about that? All right. It's a citrusy. Gravity Evolve would get a citrusy IPA. These both smell really good, by the way. The All Road definitely wins in the scent category, but the Orange Ambrosia kind of smells like an orange cream, so that's pretty good. But this smells really fruity, and I like the really fruity stuff. No comment. So the Gravity Evolve is definitely an IPA and the Western Burger. Yeah, I'll go with that. Gravity Evolve is definitely IPA Western Burger, so they're going to have barbecue sauce and the onion straws or onion rings or whatever. Crux Prime is definitely going to be a stout. Stouts and porters for the Crux Prime and a little bit lighter on the burger. I'd say just a regular burger. Just nothing fancy, no frills. It's going to be stouts and porters and a regular burger. The promotion is going to drink something that you've never heard of before or that's really like a niche because the promotion is smooth. It's just smooth on top of smooth on top of smooth. And so they're going to get some, they're going to go to some upscale burger joint and get some kind of burger with blue cheese and maybe a quail egg on it or something like that with a little bit of kale or something while they're drinking like a black IPA. Or it definitely hipster stuff. Promotion is hipster stuff all day long, so definitely. Yeah, the Storm Skin and the Storm LED. Yeah, I haven't seen the Storm LED light yet, but I am supposed to be getting one. So, rolling astrophysics in league, but by game 3 of 4 at flat 10s, move left and run into the oil, and now it goes too long to recover. Suggestions for what to use next. Sounds like you're running into carry down. So probably something that's a little bit earlier, smoother. You could core down and cover up a little bit. Phase 2, something like that, sounds pretty good to me. Or you could just go to the physics. If you went astrophysics, then physics, once the lanes start pushing down, it doesn't look like you see a lot of track burn, it just looks like you see carry down. It sounds like you do carry down, so I would probably say physics, or if you wanted to go the opposite direction, you're going to up the cover a little bit with the phase 2 because it's got a stronger cover and it's a solid, but you're going to drop the core down to symmetric, so it's going to get you the traction early without overreacting and going crazy on the back end. So, yeah, 279 with the Pro determined. Yeah, the Pro Motion is fantastic. All the Spec balls are fantastic if you understand the cover. I'm gonna rant about that here in a minute. Blue cheese and quail eggs, yeah. Maybe with a little bit of kale on there and some candied bacon, some brown sugar bacon. The two of them just kind of crisscrossed, not like actual bacon on the burger like most people do. They're going to take two strips of bacon and cross them on top of the burger so that the ends are sticking out a good 2 inches on each side of the burger. That's what I'm talking about. We are going to talk about the Crux Prime. Like I said, Ricky, Market Zero, exactly. There's so many great one-liners in The Big Lebowski. So, let's see. Yeah, virtual, yes. Thank you, James. Good answer. What's my opinion on the astrophysics? Yeah, the astrophysics, I need to fix the slug. I went just a little bit shorter on my span with that one, and now I'm kind of losing it at the bottom. And so that one in the IQ Emerald, I need to drill another Emerald because that layout didn't end up working out as well as I thought it was going to. And the astrophysics, I probably would throw a whole bunch if it felt better, but I have so many new balls coming in that I just haven't had a chance to get to it. But I really need to get to it because it's really good. There's a lot of people. That's one that for some reasons kind of flying under the radar. There hasn't been a whole lot of buzz. I haven't been seeing a whole lot of them. But the people that have them, it's like the Phase 2. When the Phase 2 came out, nobody paid attention to it because the first phase was kind of mixed reception. Everybody's like, well, I had the first phase. I'm not even going to mess with the Phase 2. But then everybody found out how good it was, and I think it was really close to getting discontinued until it started popping up at tournaments, and then you'd see it on TV, and now all of a sudden it's the staple. You see more of those than IQ Tours. So I think the Phase 2 is kind of the tournament ball, and they even look really good at League, too. That made me a whole bunch of money earlier this year on house shots. So Phase 2 is definitely one that flew under the radar, but it's now getting the respect it deserves. I hope the astrophysics catches on before it gets hopefully it doesn't get discontinued, but the Premier Line stuff seems to move through a little bit faster because that's what gets the most interest. Anytime I put a video out, especially the Gravity Evolve, the R-Road's kind of keeping up, but it's the High Road thing. So most of the time, the Premier Line stuff or the big ASIM stuff is what gets the most attention. So that's the stuff that they put out the most, and it's also the stuff they go through the fastest. So hopefully the astrophysics hangs on for a little bit, and if it doesn't, you definitely want to stash some of those. So okay, this is one thing I'm going to talk about. Neiman 999. You see track burn, not carry down. So you're probably going to want to, Rebecca, before I go to Neiman, you see track burn, not carry down, so the ball is actually burning up instead of not finishing. So if you see track burn, you're going to want to ball down. Now, something like the IQ Emerald would be pretty good actually because it's got the same cover on it, but a lot lower differential on the core, so it's not going to read the early friction so strong and burn up like ASIMs tend to do on friction. They hit friction and they really turn. That's the thing about ASIMs is they're super, super predictable on the back end and super consistent, where symmetrics need a little bit more help down lane to get going. IQ Emerald would definitely be a really, really good ball to step down to because, like I said, it has the same cover as the astrophysics, just not nearly as strong of a core. It's still going to have this. It's got the same RG, so it's still going to rev and roll in the same place. It's just not going to burn up or jerk so quickly on the friction. Now, Neiman 999. I love my Crux Prime, have 30 plus games on it, thinking of hitting the ball with the pad to get rid of the shine. I don't really mess with surface. What would be recommended was thinking 500, 2000. I would leave the shine on it unless you really, really like it with the surface on it. The thing about Spec is the shape of the reaction doesn't really change a whole lot, just where the ball starts to hook. Tamer did a surface video with the Crux Prime right when it came out, and where he did everything from I think 500 all the way up to polish or shiny or lane shine or 4000 or something like that. The shape didn't ever change. It just where the ball hooked changed. The more the rougher the surface, the earlier the ball hooked, but it didn't really change the surface. Or change the shape. Most of the time when you change the surface, it pretty dramatic on regular reactives. It pretty dramatically changes the shape a whole lot. You can take a pad to something that's got lane shine on it that's going down and taking a left turn. As soon as you take a pad on it, it really, really smooths and blends it out with regular reactives. Spec's a little bit different because it reads the lane more than it reads the oil pattern. So with the Spec cover stock, unless you're bowling on a lot of oil or a really long pattern, highly, highly, highly recommend you let it shine and leave it like that. Because once you go to put a pad on it, it's going to really dig even harder. It's going to get really smooth. It's already pretty smooth to begin with. But man, it looks so good with lane shine on it. And I think that's the biggest mistake people are making with that cover is that they want to keep it fresh. And then they take a pad to it and it's a little too smooth, and they just because it's not back ending, the ball sucks or the cover sucks. Not the case at all. I definitely, especially on a league shot, just leave the shine on it. And I'm going to do a Spec video, and this actually, if you watch my Gravity Evolve video again, the shots at gauge from the Pro Motion, once I put the surface back on it, it got pretty lazy, but it doesn't need the surface on a house shot, especially with a lane surface that's at high friction. It reads the lane early and gets really, really smooth and archy down at the end of the lane. It's not a very flattering shape, and it's not anything that you really need. So the shots that I have shiny with the Pro Motion in the video, especially at gauge, look a million times better than when I sanded it. So highly recommend leaving the shine on it. Yeah, NRG Hybrid definitely is something special. I didn't get along with the Supersonic, of course, but that's way too much ball for me, which kind of leads into my next... Okay, so James is answering questions. I got stuff cut up, and that goes right into my next topic. So we're going to go right into the next topic. Ball reaction tutorials and the balls you don't match up with. So I talked a little bit earlier about the question I put in the community tab. I'm going to leave that open because I'm not going to get to the videos this weekend. But continue to answer on that. So if you have a ball that you didn't match up with, put the ball down and then tell me why you didn't match, or why you don't like it, or what it's doing that you don't like. Some people have been pretty self-aware about it and said, well, I didn't match up with this, but it's, it's either I have this situation, that ball's not designed for it, or it just didn't match up to my personal game. Supersonic is nothing, and James can attest to this. It's nothing. I don't need a Supersonic. I do not need a Supersonic. It's super early and super smooth. James would probably look really good with a Supersonic. I don't need something that early. The Sonic looked pretty good for me originally, but I've had a couple different layouts on a couple different ones of those. It's just too early. It's too early. I create enough roll myself. I don't need a ball rolling and revving for me. I can get it to grind to a halt myself, so I don't need any help, and especially with that strong cover stock. So even though I really, really badly want a Sonic Heat, I'm not allowed to get one. The Sonic is officially off limits. I've been banned from throwing Sonics. So, I've been banned from ordering Sonics myself. So if they put out another Sonic and they send me one for the review, it's probably going to get thrown from the review, and I'm going to get banned from throwing it after that. Even if I like it, which I really do like the roll. I really, really like the Sonic. The original Sonic, I love that core, but it's nothing I can throw. It's nothing I can use. And so if I'm to say that I like the Sonic, but it's not working for me, my answer to myself would be, why the crap are you throwing a Sonic? That doesn't make any sense. You don't need a Sonic. So why did you get a Sonic? Why are you throwing a Sonic? So the majority of the stuff that I've seen in the community tab, Under that question is stuff I expected, like saying that the Halo is really condition specific for as expensive as it is. Yeah, that's like saying a golf driver is really condition specific for being $400. Yeah, you're going to use it off the tee and that's it. And some people, the very next comment that I'd always get in the pro shop when somebody would say, "Yeah, I really like this ball. Can I get it?" And I say, "Well, that's probably not going to be the best choice." And they say, "Well, can't you change where you put the fingers on it to fix it?" I'm like, "Well, that doesn't make sense. Picking a ball and then trying to use a layout or surface to kind of jam that square peg into the round hole, like a little toddler that's sitting there fiddling with it and getting mad because it won't work." That's actually a lot of bowlers. A lot of bowlers will just get a ball because they want it, and then when it doesn't fit what they want it to do, then they try, well, I need to try a different layout, or what can I do with the surface, or nothing. You should have just gotten the right ball in the first place. And a lot of this falls into the category of they didn't know, or they don't understand ball reaction. They don't understand the differences between balls. And so I initially was going to take a ball that somebody didn't, that people didn't go along with which, funny enough, oddly enough, the most amount of responses or votes so far is for the IQ Emerald. I don't get. I mean, I don't match up with mine with the layout that I have on it. But I think if I change the layout, I'll be fine. But yeah, there's a lot of votes for the IQ Emerald. Surprisingly enough, I figured it'd be, for as much complaining and whining as I hear about Spec, hardly anybody said Crux Prime, ProMotion, any of that. It was IQ Tour. Or IQ Emerald. IQ Emerald all day long. There was a few hipsters that said Phase 2 and High Road, but not everybody's going to get along with those. Jeff Riggles pretty famously says that he doesn't like either the IQ Tour or the High Road. They just don't match up to him. Or at least the High Road. I don't know about the IQ Tour. I think he said the IQ Tour too, because those are the two most popular, longest running ones that Storm has in the lines right now. So I was going to start with a ball and pick it and kind of explain, this is how the ball's designed, this is what it should do, this is where it kind of fits with the other balls, and if you don't get along with it, this is probably why. But I see so many comments in there where somebody said, well, my Crux Prime isn't, there was a couple comments about the Crux Prime that's saying, well, my Crux Prime wasn't finishing hard enough, so I took it to 1,000, and now it's worse. Yeah, because it's a super strong, super rolly, super aggressive cover stock, and people, for some reason, associate hook with backhand, and those are two different, and I'd argue opposite things, because the more hook a ball actually has, because the three phases of ball motion are skid, hook, and roll, not skid, roll, and hook. So the ball skids, it hooks, which is where it stops going one direction and turns and goes in the direction of the rotation, and then roll is where it continues in the direction that it was hooking. So the more a ball hooks, the earlier it's going to read the lane, the stronger it's going to read the lane, and also the less surface area that it's going to have in contact with dry lane. It'd be like saying, well, my, the tires on the stock car were worn out and not gripping enough, and so I put snow tires on it. And instantly anybody who watches racing now goes, well, that's a terrible idea, because less surface area in contact with the road, because it's got all the snow tires have all the channels and stuff in them, and they're super soft. And so if you put a set of snow tires on a stock car, which are technically more grippy, they're going to be chewed up in a lap, and the car is going to be sliding all over the place. That's the same thing when it comes to bowling balls. And so if the ball isn't finishing enough, putting surface on it is the opposite of what you need to do. You need shine in that case. If you're not seeing the motion down lane, you need shine so that the ball doesn't, so it hydroplanes on the oil so it doesn't dig through it. And then it will respond more strongly to the drive boards on the end of the lane, because number one, it hasn't really gotten any grab going down the lane. And number two, a smoother surface is going to have a whole heck of a lot more surface area in contact with the lane when it actually touches it. So you add surface, which means you have more peaks and valleys, little microscopic peaks and valleys on the surface of the ball. And so it has the teeth to get through the oil to contact the lane, but when it hits the end of the lane, there's no increase in traction, really. There's not very much increase in traction because it's already got all the contact with the lane pretty much that it's going to have. The oil helps it get down the lane, but it's already it's already hooking about as much as it can, so it's going to hook early and it's going to be really smooth. So, or somebody saying, I'm a two-hander and the Crux Prime doesn't work for me. You shouldn't have a Crux Prime unless you're bowling on 30 mils and 45 foot of oil. You don't need a Crux Prime. That's a bad ball choice. So I ended up starting with ball reaction tutorials. I've got one, the first one is on surface. The next one I've got done is ball selection. The next one I'm going on to is layout. And then I think I will select the ball, which looks like it's going to be the IQ Emerald, and talk about, okay, well, this is what you can do. This is who should be throwing this ball generally, because there's a bunch of different variables in bowling. And so if you ask me for a suggestion on layout, I'm not going to be much help. If you ask me for surface help, if you ask me for ball choice, I'm going to have to trust that you're giving me the best information to help you make a decision on. Most of the time is saying, well, I like this ball, or I had this ball, or this ball isn't strong enough, this ball's too strong. I can get you in the ballpark, and most of the time it works out. I had a guy the other day that was talking to me about the Pro Motion, and said that, well, it's kind of shined up, and I want to take it back to box surface, and, what should I do with it? Much the same question that just got asked. I say, well, I kind of want to know what would you do to it? And I'm like, I just leave it alone, honestly. I said, is it reacting badly? He's like, no, it's okay. And I said, well, just leave it alone. Just because it's shiny doesn't mean that that's anything bad with it. So just leave it there. So the very next day, he comes back and said, hey, I had been going to resurface the ball before league last night, but when I talked to you, you said leave it alone. I left it alone, and I shot my first 300. So just a happy coincidence, which made me feel good. But at the same time, I think it's one of those things where people can kind of get inside their heads a little bit too much, or try to do too much instead of just, oh, well, hey, this ball shined up, it looks really good, why screw with it? Even if it gets a little bit beat up, if it's still reacting good, that's the same thing as when people say, well, hey, I got this big gash on my ball. Well, is it in your track? Well, no. I'm like, well, it sucks. I would hate if that happened to me, but it's not in your track. It's not affecting anything, so who cares? Don't resurface it out. Is the ball reacting fine? Oh, yeah, it's reacting fine. Don't do anything. Just don't do anything. The other thing I tell people is that the labels on bowling balls, aside from Motive, which does the Neo marks, the labels on the ball are ball damage. They're just aesthetically pleasing or kind of organized or arranged ball damage. But they've taken an engraver and cut the living crap out of the cover stock, but it looks pretty, and it says words and stuff. So that's all okay, but if somebody gets a little nick or a scratch on the other side of the ball that doesn't have anything to do with anything, they're mad about that. But the labels, which you can hear a lot of the time when you let the ball go and you hear that scuff, 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 that's the label. That's the labels rolling on and scuffing on the lane. So yeah, don't worry about it. But those are a couple of the things. So I've got in my Patreon subs. If you're interested in that, it's $5 a month. It's an extra thing. It kind of helps me out with all the computers and all the cameras and the big super internet to get you the live streams and get you bowling videos and stuff quicker. But Patreon, and I also have a chat server at Discord. Search for Storm Nation, all one word, capital S, capital N. And then the Patreon thing, you can just search for my name if you're interested in that. We get some early stuff, some behind-the-scenes stuff. Most of the time when I'm out on the road, I can't do anything, so I try to write stuff up, and I put it on Patreon, and eventually I maybe kind of get a video out, but if I don't, I at least put the content up on Patreon so everybody sees stuff. So I've already got the surface tutorial and the ball selection tutorial up, and the layout tutorial will go up, and I don't imagine I'll have these videos done for another couple weeks. So early stuff, extra stuff, behind the scenes stuff, and if nothing else, we have a Discord chat server which is completely free. We have a Patreon members only. We have a private chat server within that, but we also have a general chat server which is just a Discord, Storm Nation, and you can find us in the general channel. So after that, now we're going to talk about Spec. And because I know that this is a Storm, I know this is a Gravity Evolve and an all-road live preview, and we're like an hour into this sucker already. And I haven't talked any daggone, no, we're an hour and 20 minutes in. I haven't talked any Gravity Evolve or all-road yet. Probably should have done that first, perhaps, but I wanted to get to this stuff. So we can lead into the... We can go ahead and lead into the Evolve and the all-road discussion by talking about the Spec cover stock. I talked about it a little bit. This is a different cover stock. This is, let's see, is it worth the upgrade? Gravity Evolve compared to the Virtual Gravity? Yeah, the Gravity Evolve is kind of like a hybrid between the original Virtual Gravity and the Virtual Gravity Nano. It's not as much length and flip as the original, but it's not quite as smooth as the Nano. It's a nice blend of the two. The Spec cover stock, specifically, the people that don't match up with it are the people that are trying to keep box surface on a house shot. Not recommended, wouldn't do it. Let it shine up. It's going to be excellent. The Crux Prime probably handles the surface the best of that, the ProMotion, and the Evolve. The Evolve looks pretty sharp out of the box, but it looks better with the shine on it. The ProMotion definitely looks better with the shine on it because it's really, it's smooth on top of smooth for days. So that one definitely, if you have a ProMotion, leave the shine on it. For God's sake, leave the shine on it. I mean, if you need it for anything else, if you need the traction, leave your ProMotion shiny, because even if you're at nationals, it retains the same friction response characteristics. It's still really smooth, it's still really blendy, but it's not so early. And the earlier a shape gets, the more it's going to mess with you down lane, because you're going to end up having to move left to get the ball down the lane, but all of a sudden it's not going to want to corner. The shine on it helps you get the shape dialed in, and it also has the same, like I said, it controls the lane the same, it controls the wet dry the same. It's amazing with the shine on it. Let the ProMotion shine up. The Crux Prime, probably of the three, looks the best with surface on it, but it also looks really good with the shine on it too. So don't hesitate to let it shine up. But if you're going to keep one dull for use on heavy tournaments, long tournaments, or whatever, the Crux Prime is probably the one, and the Gravity Evolve could go either direction. You can use it shiny for league, or you can sand it up for tournaments. So it's going to be a little bit different because it's got more shape. The Gravity Evolve has the most shape of the Crux Prime and the ProMotion so far with that trio of Spec cover stocks. Ball labels on the track side because of TV. Yep, that's actually a true story. Because the righties, whenever you have, most of the time they're going to be wherever, so you hold the ball, so the logos are going to be on the side of the ball that's facing the TV cameras. So that's an interesting point to make there. But the Spec cover stock specifically, it reacts like a hybrid urethane typical reactive ball. It absorbs oil more slowly. It absorbs it slowly enough that I actually have trouble filming the videos, because as you wipe the oil off, even when you're using a chamois, if you throw the ball over and over again every 30 seconds just as quick as you can, it does slick up a little bit. And I started to lose back-end reaction. It's kind of my fault because I don't just do the track. I mean, I do the track, but I kind of do the track all over, not just on top of the track. So it's kind of my fault that I end up smearing stuff around all over the ball. The quicker absorption balls, like the all-road, I didn't have any trouble filming with it because it absorbs oil fast enough. I get most of it off the cover, but the little bit that doesn't get off the cover sucks right into it, and we're fine in the next couple shots. But the spec cover does slick up a little bit. Now it's perfect for league because it's slow enough to where you can get to the oil and wipe it off. Every when you're throwing a shot in league every 3, 4, 5 minutes or something like that, it's just perfect for that. So if the absorption rate was any slower, then you would get into kind of questionable ball reaction. They've really, I think they really did this smartly, and I think that they did it intentionally. I don't think it was an accident that it just kind of happened to have a good absorption rate. I think that they had something specific that they were shooting for, and so it has the slowest reaction. It has the slowest absorption rate possible, with still giving you consistent, good reaction and a dry cover every 3 to 4 or 5 minutes. When you throw the ball once every few minutes. It also, because of the friction response properties, has something called chemical adhesion, and it has the highest dry lane coefficient of friction. It just wants to stick to the lane, so it's got the highest dry lane coefficient of friction of any cover that they have, which, put into plain English, means that it gives you a truer read on the lane. So it reads the lane more than the oil pattern. Obviously, if there's a crap load of oil on it, it's going to read the oil, but it mutes the transition, or it mutes the wet dry stuff. It doesn't. It's not as sensitive to oil, and it also doesn't read friction as strongly as other reactives. So you can tell with other reactives exactly where the oil's at and exactly where the dry's at. The spec cover blends that stuff out a whole lot more. So there's a lot of people that have commented to me, it's like, well, I can use my Crux Prime and I can stand in the same spot all night long when my teammates are moving around and changing balls and whatever else. And I had a teammate of mine mention the other day, it's like, well, our lanes are going to toast, and here's this guy over here with his Crux Prime, revving the crap out of it, and he hasn't had to move all night. I'm like, well, it's not the pair, it's the ball, because it just doesn't read wet and dry the same way that typical reactives do. So, all this to say, it reacts, it's a lot better shiny because that gives you more shape that you're used to seeing out of traditional reactives, but it has similar friction response characteristics. So again, it still isn't that sensitive to oil. It's still not that sensitive to dry, but the cover stock is a lot stronger than people realize that it is, just because people, I'm losing the word. I don't know what the word is. People associate shape with hook. They associate seeing a big move on the back end with hook. That's not what it is. That's the opposite of what it is. The spec cover stock hooks a lot. And so most of what's happening is somebody's seeing the ball not shaping, and then they're using surface, and the ball's reading so early that they can't see it. So I'm going to be really interested to hear James' thoughts, because he just got, he threw a Crux Prime, but he had kind of a weird layout on it. He didn't really get along with it. But he just got a promotion, he just got a Gravity Evolve, and he's got a game maybe on each of them, but he kind of likes what he sees so far. And I'm going to be really interested in his comments, because he's got a really good eye for ball reaction. Plus, him and I read it totally different because our games are totally different. So I'm really excited to see, because I think this cover, I think he just got a bad read on the Crux Prime. I really think he's going to like this cover, so I'm interested to see. Hopefully he gets videos for those. But I'm really interested to see what his thoughts are going to be on him, because I keep preaching about it. I'm really preachy with it, but people don't understand the cover stock. And a lot of people saying, well, it's a dud, or the Crux Prime's a bust, or they need to get rid of Spec or something, but they do not understand the cover stock. So yeah, cool. So yeah, he hit them both with the 3000 pad, so he took the surface up on both of them before he even threw them. And he got the benefit of seeing the way that mine reacted, my promotion, and I think I threw my Crux Prime a couple times for him to see, but after he got an idea of my promotion, then watching the video and how much better the Evolve looked with polish on it, he said, yeah, I'm just going to take the surface up before I even throw him, because that cover stock is super, super strong. And there were several times where he was saying, well, it's burning up in the first. We went to a tournament, and I played the lanes like a donkey. And he said, well, your 2 arrows too far left, and the ball's burning up as soon as it hits the lanes. And it was so early that I couldn't see it, even with some shine on it. So So yeah, it's much stronger than people think it is, and it's really smooth. It's got different reaction tendencies than typical reactives do, and so that's why I'm going to make a video on it. You have to understand the cover to get the most out of it. You just have to. And it's a little tricky for somebody who doesn't go through a whole lot of bowling balls, and especially when people like to see the shape and see typical reactives over and over and over again, and then they get something different like this, and because it doesn't act like a typical reactive, it's junk, or everybody's doing the opposite of what they should do to it, and that makes it worse, and then they just hate the cover stock, and they're not going to give balls like the ProMotion and Gravity Evolve a chance because they had one bad experience with the Crux Prime. Now, this is the other thing. There's a lot of people that like the Crux Prime, but the people who hate the Crux Prime have blamed it all on the cover stock. And the funny thing is that I was going to point out is that on my that survey that I put on the community tab, asking which ball you didn't get along with the most, people overwhelmingly has been the IQ Emerald, which confuses me. But everybody said, well, IQ Emerald, IQ Emerald, IQ Emerald. But nobody's saying that cover stock's junk or that core's junk, because obviously it's not junk. But everybody's, well, I didn't match up with this ball, or it's just this specific ball, but it's got R2S Pearl on it, and it's got the Centripetal C3 core in it, which has been used, both of those have been used a million times. But nobody's dogging on those specific things. The Crux line, you have to remember with the Crux line, too, that because of that scoop in the front of the core, and I think I talked about that on my Crux Prime video, and if not, maybe it's somewhere else. But I talked about it in my Crux Prime new versus now. If you haven't seen that, go check that out, because I did a durability test over the last 8-9 months on my Prime, and it held up exceptionally well. Never cleaned it. Took surface to it several times just to really put the cover through its paces to see what it was made of. I threw it at 10 pins too, so it didn't just get strike shots, it got the spare shots too. And so I put it through as much crap as I could put it through, and it looks the same. So the slower absorption rate thing and the higher durability, maintaining the entry angle, Storm did a lot of testing on it, and Specto doesn't lie. So it's performing as advertised as far as the durability stuff goes. Now, obviously, with it being different reaction-wise, just because something's improved one way, if it reacts like crap, nobody's going to care. I think it's a great marriage of both. But the original Crux line, if you don't remember, the first one was a hybrid with the Crux, and it was a nice blend of power and control. The Crux Pearl was probably the smoothest asymmetric pearl ever. Maybe, I mean, the No Rules Pearl was pretty smooth too. The Crux Prime was just rolling on top of rolling on top of rolling on top of rolling. And the Alpha Crux never really got popular until after it was discontinued, because it was kind of like the Phase 2. It was, well, it looks okay on a house shot, but I've got better options. It looks good at tournaments. But then they realize, it seems to start with the pros. They realize, okay, well, this looks really good. Every time I use this ball, it gives me really good reaction. It gives me a lot of forgiveness. It gives me traction without too much pop down lanes. So it's got a nice blend of everything. And so now those are in super high demand. Well, people didn't really realize that the Crux series wasn't terribly popular. The original Crux was a big fan favorite. Everybody thought that the Crux Pearl was a flop, and the Alpha Crux was kind of mixed. And then they had the thing with the lawsuit with the core or whatever, that they got that all settled out a long time ago, because there was some patenting thing or something like that with the scoop design. But the thing with that scoop in the front of that core is that when you drill the thumb hole into it, it was designed to minimize the difference, changing the core specs when you drill the ball into it, because most of the time people will drill a ball pin up. They kind of design balls and count on you to drill it pin up. And so when you're taking mass out of the side of the core, like you can't see this, but you're taking mass out of the side of the core, you make it slimmer and you make it taller. And so that increases the differential, which increases the flare, which increases traction and back end. The Crux Prime was designed, or the Catalyst core was designed to minimize all that. So if you had an 052 diff or 050 or whatever it is before drilling, you're going to have really close after drilling, because you're going to take a little bit of mass out here at the top of the core, but you're not going to take anything at all out of the side of the core, even if you're using a switch grip or something, which drills down further. So when you drill something like a Gravity Evolve with the shape lock, that differential is going to go up. So that you're going to get much more flare. And so even though the design numbers look similar, the after drilling numbers are going to look pretty different. So that's why the Crux series was kind of smooth on top of smooth and controllable to begin with. And so when you put a smooth, high traction cover stock on top of that, it's going to be all kinds of smooth. It's going to be all kinds of early and all kinds of smooth. And so when I hear people getting the ball and saying, well, it just doesn't finish on the back end. Yes, exactly. You notice that. It's not supposed to hook much on the back end. That's the whole point. So, hey, Brian McMahon, I've seen you several times in the comments section. Hey, Clowny. Kenny, Rebecca, Mr. Bell, of course. Ethan Hoffman, I'm a tweener bowling on medium-heavy conditions, have a high road nano, which is great up the lane, but not when I move left. Phase 2, a good ball, solid ball for moving left. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. I assume James will say yes also. Yeah, more late movement leaves more 10 pins for me. Yes. So, James disagrees. You see a ton of difference, but fair enough. You need something that'll get further down the lane or have the same traction. Okay, street fight equals goat. I did actually like my street fight. I could really roll it and it wouldn't overreact. That was a crazy high RG core. That was kind of interesting. Yeah, more late movement leaves more 10 pins for me because the ball's not picking up soon enough. It's getting down the lane. It's not getting into the hook phase soon enough or not getting into the roll phase soon enough. And so it's just late movement. So, okay, I think that's the last thing I want to talk about when I ramble and preach about Spec some more, because I think it's awesome. And people keep saying, oh, it's the worst thing that's ever happened. And I'm like, you don't understand it. And to base everything that you think about Spec on one ball, and that one ball being the Crux Prime, bad decision. And if you let that keep you from trying balls like the ProMotion, or especially the Gravity Evolve, that's why I didn't harp too much on Spec in the video, because I want people to kind of ignore that, because it's supposed to be good and grand, but that's why people hate Belmo balls, because it's associated with Jason Belmonte. They don't care what the ball actually, what the makeup is, or what it actually reacts like. Oh, it's a Belmo ball, so we're going to hate it because we don't like two-handers. Or, finding I tried the Crux Prime, didn't match up with it. The cover sucks. They need to get rid of it. I'm never throwing anything else with Spec. That's dumb. I mean, I don't like to get too over the top with stuff, but I've been told by several people that my personality is kind of getting lost in all my videos here, and so I've gotten a little burnt out on stuff. So when I do have time to make a video, I don't necessarily want to make a video. But once some people convince me to kind of put the personality back into stuff and do stuff that I'm interested in doing instead of trying to make do every little thing that everybody wants me to, which I do want to make the videos entertaining. I do want to make them informative. I do want to have as many people as possible enjoy my videos, but at the same time, if I'm the only one not enjoying my videos, it makes it really rough. And I think that comes through the camera too. If I'm enjoying what I'm doing, like I'm talking faster tonight than I usually do. I'm not taking a breath. I'm barely taking sips of water. But I'm saying what I want to say, and I'm talking about what I want to talk about. So even if this might be so much more boring for everybody watching, I'm having a good time. So, all right. So now we're going to talk about the Gravity Evolve and the All-Road, an hour and a half into the stream, where we were going to talk about the Gravity Evolve and the All-Road. How many games do I have on the Crux Prime? I have no idea. It's several hundred. Because I threw nothing but the Crux Prime for a solid couple months after I got it, and then the Halo Pearl came out, and I really, really liked that one. I started throwing that one, but I still threw my Crux Prime at 10 pins, and then I kind of got back into my Crux Prime, and then I was throwing it a bunch because I knew it was going to Nationals when we went to Nationals late, and so I practiced several times a week, and my Crux Prime was going to be my straight up the lane, straight up 5, 6, 7, whatever, burning the trackball for team and doubles and singles, and it worked really well at that once I got there. I sucked, but the ball was good at doing what it was supposed to do, which reminds me I still need to get those uploaded. I have those. That's my other project that I keep forgetting about, is I have the videos from Nationals this year, and now I think I can actually edit them and get them up. But they're 3 hours long a piece, and they didn't really trim the videos at all. They turned the video cameras on like 20 minutes earlier than they really needed to, and so you have a bunch of dead space, and you have us walking out, and then you have all the practice, and then 20 minutes later you finally get to the bowling. I would like to chop it up a little bit and talk a little bit about it, but I do have footage from Nationals this year, even though it's not flattering at all. Yeah. So Aaron A, yeah, you haven't missed anything. If you're wanting to talk about the Gravity Evolve and the All-Road, you haven't missed anything yet. So Ryan Ford also, he said he was going to be in about 8:30. He hasn't missed anything either. I think it's been interesting, but I'm weird, so. So yeah, I do have several hundred games on my Crux Prime, I'm pretty sure. And as you can see, and it is kind of funny because the original video I filmed was with the old camera, and I didn't realize how bad the video actually looked until I compare it to my new camera, which looks quite a bit better. So that actually gives kind of a neat effect of, oh yeah, this is old, and this is all grainy and pixel, all grainy and nasty and dark or whatever. And then the new camera makes the reaction look better. But no, yeah, Spec covers several hundred games. Why would you throw anything else? Exactly. I told Chad McLean the other day, I said the more balls with Spec that I throw, the less I want to throw anything else. I find myself gravitating to the Pro Motion even when I shouldn't throw it, because it blends the lane so well. I don't get the wrap tins. I will tell you what, since I've been throwing the Pro Motion, my 4-pin count, I have plenty of 10 pins, but I have plenty of 10 pins with anything else that I throw. My Stone 9 count has gone down. My Stone 8 count has gone down. My 7 pins are about the same. 4 pins, I virtually don't leave any 4 pins anymore, because the react, and definitely no 4 9s. I haven't left a 4 9 in months. I mean, well, no, I left one. Well, it was with the Evolve at League last week. So I left one 4 9 in months and months. Now the Idol Pro is the other one that I really like throwing, but I get some wrap 10s with that. I get some drive-by 9s. I get some 4 pins with that, so it's a much more normal thing. But the Pro Motion, I still leave the 10 pins. I just don't leave the 9s. I don't leave the 4s. I leave probably a few more 7s, I'd have to say, though. But it's cut down my back row, and it's also cut out the 4 pins. I don't hardly leave those at all anymore, just because it blends the pattern so much better and the way it goes through the pins. I throw it sometimes when I shouldn't, and because I think that there's sometimes where I end up going like strike 10 pin, where I'd have had 4 strikes in a row with something else. But I know what I'm going to leave with the Pro Motion. I know I'm going to be in the pocket. I'm not going to go front 4, big 4. I'm going to go like front 3, 10 pin, double 10 pin, triple 10 pin or something like that. So unless I throw bad shots, I'm going to shoot 220 or 230 every single game with the Pro Motion, pretty much. Other stuff I might go 260, but then I might go 200, and then I would rather be in the pocket. That's kind of what I like doing, is staying in the pocket, and that's kind of having like an old guy game is what I call it. It's so funny to watch youth bowlers with seniors and say, well, that the senior, he just dumps it down 10 and pins fly everywhere and it carries and the ball looks like crap going down the lane. It's like, well, he's been doing this a long time and he just knows how to bowl. He knows how to knock pins down. It doesn't matter what the ball looks like going to the pins as long as they fall down every time. And they figured out what to do to make the pins fall down. And so I'm kind of transitioning into my old guy game, get something predictable. I know what it's going to do. I know we're going to be in the pocket. And if you put yourself in the pocket, sometimes you're not going to get what you deserve, but you're not going to have the nasty stuff that goes along with it too. You know, nothing's like seeing an old guy grind out a 215 game when the lanes are tricky and you shoot 205 and think, well, God, I just needed one more strike. No, you needed one more spare is really what you needed. So yeah, spec cover, I mean, the Crux Prime isn't usable very much. It's usable at Westridge, but the shape kind of makes it a little niche, but it's really, really good when it's good. And obviously it looks, I probably should throw it more because a lot of people have commented, it's like when you did on the Gravity Evolve video, they've said, well, the Evolve looks good in the video, but man, you make that Crux Prime look great. It's like, yes, because number one, I understand the cover. Number two, because I understand the cover, I know where to throw it. I know how to throw it. That's why I get that good of reaction out of it. It's not that you got a different Crux Prime or that there's some other thing or whatever. I really understand the cover well, and I understand what to do with it, and so that's why the Prime looks so good for me. But because I understand it, I don't use it as often probably as I should. I use the ProMotion probably when I shouldn't. But now that we've got the Gravity Evolve in the mix, it's got the most shape of all of them. If you haven't seen my video, definitely check that out. Yeah. Ken Fleming, don't get a ProMotion. It's terrible. My average jump 15 pins. I can't sandbag with it. Yep. Yeah, sweet Jesus, the old guy, one of my leagues, full roller up right up 10 and kills it. And that's the thing that I've gotten onto. I want to be. I'm trying to get kind of a new school, old school game going, which a higher rev game with kind of old school thought patterns. And Spec really helps me do it, specifically the ProMotion. You can beat the pocket to death. And if you let it shine up, you're going to get enough shape on the back end to carry the 10 pins. Don't want to sand it. Yep, shout out for the old guy game. Ken gets it. Yep. Definitely. Yep, the old guy game is definitely... Kids like to see the... Yeah, ProMotion's probably the first storm ball I've thrown to date that doesn't look like a storm ball going down the lane. Reminds me more of a hammer ball. It's definitely a lot smoother. It's definitely a lot more controllable, and I think that's the biggest problem is that, yeah, you hit the nail on the head right there. It's not a storm shape. And so people that throw storm all the time are going to get the ball and say, well, this is a piece of crap, just because it doesn't act like other storm balls. Well, I think that's great that we're getting kind of other company type of reactions. Like Motive's got a bunch of smooth stuff. It's almost like having a Radical ball or a Motive ball in the storm line, which is great. So we've got such a wide range, such a big coverage of reaction shapes and potentials and all kinds of stuff now that I don't actively look for the next ball that they're coming out with. Everybody will say, well, what's on your wish list, or what do you want them to come out with next? What do you think they're going to come out with next? I don't really care. Now, there's been stuff before, and I think the ProMotion filled it, because I was saying we don't have that big core smooth cover. Like, I was a big fan of the Covert Revolt from Motive back in the day, and that's still one of my top 3 balls of all time. We didn't have anything really like that. We had the IQ Tour, but it was too round and it didn't have the differential up there. And then the Crux Prime's not quite the right shape. It's too strong. It's too, quick off of friction. And now that we've got the ProMotion, it reminds me of the Covert Revolt. And so now everything's all kosher, and I'm not sending Chad stuff and saying, well, hey, can you do this or can you do that or what can we do here? And which, interestingly, the Gravity Evolve is something that we kind of talked about. So I'm glad that they ended up doing it. But I had the idea to, and they've had the idea. I'm not trying to make this sound like this was my idea or anything, but kind of on the same page. Or he said, yeah, that's good. We've been thinking about that. But taking an older core and updating it with a new cover. I'd really like to see the X Factor series reimagined, but that's 20 years old now, and people don't really remember those. So the virtual gravity, redoing a virtual gravity basically is probably the smartest way to do it, rather than digging so far back to that or the El Ninos or the erasers or something. I just thought that we're still using rad core technology now, and the X Factor was the first ball that had the original rad core, which is a radial accelerating disc, which doesn't mean a damn thing to me besides sounding cool. It sounds like I know what I'm talking about. It's the rad core. But I thought it'd be cool to kind of bring the original rad core back and update it with new cover stocks instead of doing that. Everybody's doing the re-releasing thing, and it basically kind of says, well, this was really popular and a lot of people liked it, and we haven't really made anything too much better than that, and so we're going to throw the old nostalgic stuff out to make everybody happy. And that's all good and everything, but at the same time, build on it. Take something older, reimagine it, reinvent it, so you get the nostalgia factor in there, you get the similarity. Anybody that had a virtual gravity or a virtual gravity nano is going to throw the Evolve, and they're going to say, that reminds me of my virtual. So they're going to have a new ball that reminds them of something that's old. So you tap into the nostalgia factor, but you update it with the newer technology.
I'm making sure you stay on topic.
Yeah, well, I still have to get to those.
That's what I'm sitting.
Mm-hmm.
That's what everybody in the comments are doing.
Oh,
Hey, this is called a review.
yeah, okay.
Let's talk about balls.
Okay, I'm going to talk about the balls now.
Yes.
Okay. Here is my gravity. It's got some lane shine on it. I just let it shine up. So that's what we're going to do. So this looks really good actually out of box or with the shine on it. I prefer this cover with the shine on it. I don't need anything with surface on it to begin with. But the Evolve is, if you've seen the video, and like I said, if you've had either of the virtual gravity or the virtual gravity nano, that's like I was just saying, that's you're gonna get that and you're gonna say that's a virtual. That's my virtual gravity. James and I have said kind of the same thing. It feels like if they made a solid physics, that's what it feels like, because the reaction shape is kind of similar to what you'd expect out of a solid physics, which just happens to be kind of a virtual gravity motion. So it's nice that they updated it with the more durable cover. It's kind of a blend. It's not quite as flippy as the original virtual gravity, not quite as smooth as the nano. So it's kind of a blend right there. But this one is very good. I imagine I'm going to be using it a lot at Westridge. Probably not so much at Gauge Center or Gauge Bowl now. Used to be Gauge Center. Not going to be using it so much at Gauge because nothing with a solid cover on it looks very good. The Crux Prime looks good there, and the Idol Pro looks good there after a couple games. But most of the time it's shiny and it's Pearl or Hybrid. Looks the best there. Solid stuff looks really good at Westridge. So pearls and stuff, the reaction's really smooth over at Westridge, and so you need solids to kind of get some traction, and solids, believe it or not, give you a little bit more shape. The pearls and the hybrids are kind of over under because they don't they're really flippy if you're right, but as soon as you move left a little bit, they get a little wiggly. Well, it's exactly the opposite at Gauge. So the solids actually dig in and produce the best amount of shape because they're getting traction then shaping on the back end. Or Gauge Center or Gauge, there's so much friction everywhere, you don't need solids. You need something to take advantage of the friction. So, like to hear about the new balls before I go to bed. Yep. And Connie, I think I responded. You left a comment on this earlier, but Angel, we did get Angel stuff. Angel got an all road and a gravity Evolve, and hopefully we'll get video for those and get those done. The key operative word is hopefully. Here's
For my emerald.
yeah, I know. I lost the video on that though. This is the all road. It's not quite as it's darker than it appears in the picture. The picture is quite a bit brighter, both with the silver and the teal. It's darker. It's still an attractive ball. Still smells really good. It's pretty fruity. but that's the all-road. Um, it's kind of high road nano-ish in that it's earlier and smoother. It kind of catches me off guard because when I'm throwing a high road or a high road pearl or something, that looks out of the box like mine looks with.
I know, but the teal,
Yeah.
it looks better than yours.
Oh. Okay. This is Angel's all road. We actually had a similar problem like I had with the Halo Vision. My all road definitely came at 2000, and Tamer's definitely came at 2000. Also, really, really super chalky. Angels came at 4,000, which has got a little bit of shine on it, which is what I expected out of the box. But yeah, the all-road kind of surprises me a little bit, kind of like the Nano did, because when I'm throwing a high road or a high road Pearl, high road X, I'm expecting length and a ton of back end. And so when I go to throw the all-road and I kind of throw it out there and I'm expecting a big motion down lane, it doesn't really do that. It's quite a bit smoother, which actually makes it nicer because it allows the heavy hands to really hammer it at the bottom and get the length out of the core, and then get the smooth but continuous kind of high road read on the back end. So it's going to give you the length. The core is going to help you get length through the front part of the lane, and then the cover is going to blend the back ends a little bit more, so you get a more versatile, more usable high road, especially on tougher tournament conditions. It doesn't look like the greatest thing for me on a fresh shot in league. The core, I need something lower RG. I need something that reads quicker. So it's nothing that I am going to get to very quickly in league, if ever, but it's definitely a tournament ball. Longer formats, maybe longer, like a double singles on a house shot type thing. It's definitely going to Springfield next year, like I said in the video, because the High Road T, which is just a High Road Pearl, I said High Road in the video, and I didn't catch it until I was done with it. But the High Roads definitely look good at the double singles house, but the T was just not quite. I mean, I scored really well with it, but I had to really slow roll it. And so given that core and that general shape looks really good there, the all road is going to be something where you can use before the high road, or before the high road Pearl, before the high road X. It shapes the most like the high road X and the high road Pearl. The high road is a little bit more angular, a little bit more of a hook. I mean, it's still continuous, but the high road definitely rolls in the direction of the rotation. The high road Pearl is a whole lot more archy. The high road X kind of splits the difference, but it shapes a little bit more like the high road Pearl. This one, the all road shapes like the high road Pearl and the high road X. It's earlier and smoother, of course, but it's most similar to those. It can still be, you can bowl down to the high road still from it, but it definitely has more traction than all of them. It's close enough, though, to where it fits in the Thunder line. It's not so strong that you're going to say, well, this is like a roto ball, like the MVP that should belong in the HP3 line. No, it's in the Thunder line. It fits with the other balls. It's a little bit stronger, but it's not quite as strong as stuff in the Master line, even the IQ Emerald, because that's quite a bit earlier and smoother, and there wasn't really anything. The IQ Emerald to the High Road X or the High Road, or whichever one you think is the strongest in the Thunder line, pretty big gap, and the All Road fills that pretty nicely. So, new school High Road Solid, I'd say it's more like a new school High Road Nano, actually. It's not quite as strong, not quite as smooth, of course, being a hybrid instead of a solid. But could you possibly bowl on longer sport shot to show how they perform on those types of conditions? Probably not going to do that. I was saying a little bit earlier that or actually I wasn't saying earlier, but I get a whole bunch of requests to do a whole bunch of stuff, and so my videos have gotten really, really long, and there's a lot of other people out there. I talked about this earlier in the video, so you might go check that out, and I talked about a bunch of different channels that have kind of popped up here in the last 6 months to a year that are making really great stuff, and they do all kinds of stuff. So it's just most people bowl on most people bowl on house shots. Probably 95% of the people watching the video are going to use it on a house shot and can kind of imagine what it's going to do on a sport shot. But the reason I don't do it at Westridge is because everything looks the same at Westridge. And at Gauge, you get a truer look at stuff, but you really couldn't. I did the couple videos with the ProMotion and the IQ Emerald where I bowled on the tougher shots, and you couldn't really see. I bowled on a couple sport shots for each of those, and you couldn't really see much of a difference. It just, I didn't have quite as much miss room, and they took a hell of a lot longer to film, and so while I would like to show that stuff off, my videos have gotten pretty swollen, and trying to keep them under 8 minutes is kind of ridiculous. So I'm going to try to trim them up even more. I have these last two around kind of the 4.5, 5 minute mark is where I really want them to kind of show off the ball reaction. You'll kind of have to develop an association for how they react for me and how they react for that doesn't support very much weight. So I wouldn't do that. You just put them back in the...
You're done with them?
Yeah. Put them back in the bag. Oh, yeah, what's the flavor of the night? Mango bubbly. It's mango sparkling water. And so somebody said they thought it sounded fancy. It's pretty cheap, actually, but it's pretty good. I was saying that if you're trying to get off a pop or soda or whatever you call it.
Yeah, well, I was actually walking through the exit. They said that Pepsi makes that.
Yeah, probably. I can believe that.
Yeah, did not know that.
So, yeah. If you're trying to get off a pop, you're definitely going to miss the sugar at first, but once you get there's enough flavor there that once you go back to pop, it feels really sweet and really cloying. So
That's just really tart for me. I can't do it.
yeah, and James makes a good point here. Yeah, so they have extremely dominant topography. Like Westridge probably felt like something pretty long to James. Is 40 foot. Feels more like 43, 44. What are you doing, Bandito?
He's doing good. I'm watching.
Okay. And yeah, the reaction at Westridge is going to look the same, no matter what we put down. And it was, I mean, I don't want to get into another story since we're supposed to be talking about balls, but basically we're just gonna. Everything looks the same. It's just I have less miss room, so there's not going to be much difference in shape, little bit in traction, but you're not going to see anything super different out of the ball reaction than what you already see on the house shot.
Maybe you touched on
So.
it. They were asking if those were going to make the bag.
Oh, the Gravity Evolved definitely makes the bag. The All Road's kind of probably going to be one that doesn't make the league bag, but it's probably going to make tournament bags.
And what would it replace? That was the other one.
So okay, what's it going to replace?
What would you take, and so what are you taking out to put those in?
I don't know, since all I basically throw is the ProMotion anymore. I mean, if I have Spec stuff, I'm going to throw Spec stuff unless I can't. But I can literally throw the ProMotion on anything except if there's too much oil. And I have the Crux Prime and the Gravity Evolve for that. So we actually bowled on Boardwalk, Broadway, whatever it is. It's 37 feet. We bowled on that at a tournament a couple weeks ago, and I used the ProMotion the entire tournament because it just blended the lane so well. So
The day two, Anthony made you put it away.
I went to the Idol Pro for the last couple games, but it didn't look any better. So
No, but I'm just Anthony made
yeah.
for whatever reason.
The Evolve is my favorite of the two new ones, mostly because it's a familiar feel with the Spec cover to the other Spec stuff that I like, and it's stronger. It's something I'm going to be able to use more often. The All Road isn't going to get a whole ton of use because I don't normally get that far down in my bag. I think the furthest I get down at League is Idol Pro, as I don't even get down to my Idol Pearl anymore, so I'm definitely not going to get down to an All Road. I think the commentary is the strongest part of your reviews. Thank you. If you have more than 8 minutes of thoughts, I say go for it. Sometimes I do, but sometimes it can get a little long and boring for people. They wanna get my basic thoughts. They want to see what I have to say, and that's the thing is now that I've got almost 8,000 subscribers, and you're gonna have a bunch of different opinions in there. So no matter what I do, somebody's not gonna like something about something, and I'm gonna try to make it to where as many people as possible enjoy what I'm doing. But my algorithms on or my statistics or analytics say that people watch for an average on my ball reviews. People watch for about an average of 3 minutes and 20 seconds. So if people were watching, that means that they're missing. If I make an 8-minute video, that means that most people are missing more than half of it, and which also means that I'm working several more hours than I really need to on it. So while I do appreciate that, I'm going to try to diversify a little bit, and that's the point of the 1 minute.
Basically, each minute of video is an equivalent to about an hour of your time.
Yeah, so it's about an hour per minute. So if the video is 8 minutes long, it took me 8 hours to edit it. If it's 5 minutes long, it took me 5 hours to edit it. So yes, my favorite one's the Gravity Evolve. It's going to get the most amount of work. Now, if you've got a big rev rate or slower speed, the all road's going to get a whole lot of use, especially if you like high roads. If you like high roads, get the all road because you're going to like it. If you had a virtual gravity nano, if you like the idea of a solid physics, get the Evolve. And if you like all the above, get both of them. Oh man, just shot 300 and 800 back-to-back nights with the physics. Alma Curry, sweet. It's been a while since I shot 300 or 800 last season. I had a couple of them, couple each last season. James though with the 856. Crux Prime, I think. No, the Halo, because the Halo Pearl, because I almost had back-to-back 300s with it. So yeah, my last 300 and 800 was March with the Halo Pearl.
What was your 825 with?
Code 0. All right. MVP versus all road. There's really no comparison there. The shapes are pretty different. The MVP is actually stronger than the all road. Believe that or not. The MVP is still the strongest shiny HP2 ball that they've put out. MVP is earlier. It's sharper. It's more across the board. The all road. The traction on the all road, the nano cover is already really smooth to begin with. So even though it's most of the shape from the physics comes from the ASIM part of it. So when you don't have that smooth of a cover around an asymmetric core, it's not going to be near as much shape. Like the Supersonic is quite a bit smoother than the physics. The all road is quite a bit smoother than the physics. So what the all road does with the traction really is it affects the shape more than the hook potential, in my opinion. Dropped to 14 due to knee injury, but leaving way too many corner pins. The MVP might be the answer for you. MVP or astrophysics would probably help with the corner pins, unless the corner pins are due to the ball going a little bit too long, in which case maybe phase 2. Last question on the Spec cover. One of my guys bulls in a wood house. Thoughts on Spec cover in a wood house? I have no idea. Probably not good though, because wood is quite a bit softer than synthetics, which is going to increase the friction, and that cover already has enough friction to begin with. It might end up working out great because that cover really likes friction to hook on. Since it's slower off of friction, it typically is really smooth on synthetics. It might look really good on wood. If he's already got the ball to try on wood, I'd say do that. I wouldn't go out and buy the ball hoping that it works on the wood, though.
Scroll back up to 844.
I don't have any time stamps on the comments.
Okay, then let me read. Norm question.
Oh boy.
The wise old panda tells you your league arsenal should be supersonic on fresh, winner pearl on transition, and matchup pearl on burn. Do you listen to the wise old panda and take the advice?
I shoot the panda. All those balls are wrong. I like pandas. We have a panda.
And I said
But-
daredevil danger for spares.
Yeah. No, it isn't either of these, but what are your thoughts on the Hustle AU? I haven't thrown a Hustle AU. It looks okay. I've heard some mixed results on it. For my money, though, the best two Hustles have been the Ink and the POW. The other ones, the Pro and the Say that they came out with first, didn't like both of those at all. Didn't like either of those at all. The HYB wasn't very good for me, and these are pretty good low end balls as far as performance goes. But I think they're just too slow. They're just too lazy most of the time. Even the 3TP, the 3TP is probably pretty good. It's probably better than the AU because it's more shaped down lane. But the other ones are early, rolly, and lazy. Is what I've seen from a lot of people. So, man, 38, 300, 17th, 800, first this year. Thrown physics for 2 weeks. Been best look since Mutant Cell. Cool. So you would probably like the Gravity Evolve because it feels like a solid physics. So if you get along with the physics or the astrophysics, the Gravity Evolve, it was kind of a neat little way for Storm to get the virtual gravity back and kind of give us a solid physics without actually being a solid physics, while still leaving room open to give us a solid physics. So that's kind of nice. Is a three-time drilled Mutant Cell worth saving? I have no idea. That depends on how it reacts. I don't plug anything. If it has to be, I drill a new ball. If something like if the layout on the my IQ Emerald layout, not super great. So I'm drilling another. I'm not re-drilling the ball. I am drilling a new one.
You do that with the Echo Pearl too.
What would you say the main difference between Nano and Spec, the response to transition? Pretty similar. Nano is still more sensitive to oil and more sensitive to friction than Spec, but not by much. Really small, minute, minimal differences there. It's just the Nano cover is straighter on friction than Spec is. It's the response and the end or the shape. So Nano hits friction and it tends to straighten out, where Spec hits friction and it kind of winds up and gets more continuous. Spec kind of shapes like it's kind of like urethane in that regard, where it can be early and flat if you're in the wrong place doing the wrong things to it. But if you slow roll it, urethane will wind up and it will be really continuous. That's kind of how Spec acts. Just a more reactive shaping urethane kind of idea. It would be like saying, what I've said about the Spec cover, which is on the Gravity Evolve. Trying to still talk about the Gravity Evolve. Trying to still talk about the new ones. But it'd be like saying, okay, well, my urethane ball isn't shaping enough, so I took it to 1,000. That made it worse. Yeah, obviously that made it worse because it brought the reaction even closer to you and gave you so much more over-under down the lane. Think of Spec as you would think of urethane. Just Spec is a more reactive shaping urethane. Think about it like that. Jeremy Scott, $5. Just want to shout out Prodigy Bowlers Tour. Thank you. And shout out to the Tropical Surge and winners. Our heart don't hate. The Tropical Surges, though, the hybrid Tropical Surge is basically the ride. And the ride was, for my money, the best true light oil ball. There's been a lot of light oil balls. The Hustles are still pretty strong for light oil or drier lanes. They're for more medium, light side of medium. The winner is really, really incredibly, stupidly good on fresh lanes, but as soon as you have to start moving or as soon as transition sets in, it turns into the biggest piece of junk I've ever thrown. But my God, if you want to guarantee 250, 260 first game pretty well every time, winner on a fresh normal shot, not like a Buffalo carry shot. It might be pretty good on the Buffalo carry shot. I don't even know.
No, he did the physics.
50 foot, 17 mils? Yeah, okay. That sounds awful. Would it be worth it to get another promotion with a weaker layout to ball down to? That's the funny thing about Spec is that the ball's it's going to do what it's going to do. Surface doesn't change shape much, and different layouts really aren't going to change much. It's going to change a little bit, perhaps per chance. I want to drill another promotion to see what's going to happen, but I really don't. It's just you're not going to see a whole bunch of difference. So I probably would not recommend drilling 2 and taking 2. I probably will drill another one with a quite a bit different layout to see what they do, but they're probably going to be really similar because this cover is so familiar, it's so identifiable, it's such what was the word that he used earlier? Yeah, the cover is so dominant that you're just not going to see a whole lot out of different surfaces or different layouts. More so with the Prime and the Evolve, of course, because of the asymmetric core. You're going to see more difference out of those than a Pro Motion. Pro Motion is going to be really similar across the board no matter what you do with it. So, had a friend who wants to replace her pin down Code Red since her original has a lot of games over the years and discontinued. That's tough. That's tough. Because wow. Pin down Code Red. I'm thinking pin down astrophysics is the closest you're going to get, which is still going to be a little bit long. It's going to be a little bit weaker. Well, it's actually the same base cover stock. It's still R2S. So astrophysics is going to be a little bit longer and a little bit stronger than the Code Red, but it's definitely going to be the closest thing that we have right now by a long shot. The shape is going to be fairly similar, just a little bit longer, a little bit stronger, but it's going to feel familiar enough to where I think that she'll be able to get along with it. I went pinned down on my astrophysics. I really like it. The Code Red for me was like I'm saying earlier and smoother, but I think astrophysics is going to be the closest there. Why you got to do me like that? Yeah. Bandito. How's the all-road compared to the OG high road? The all-road is earlier, smoother, and a couple boards stronger. The high road does weird things that it's kind of interesting how that actually happens. Hey, buddy. You the buddy? High five? Can you high five? Nope, don't. You want to smell me first?
Yeah.
Okay. High five? Nope. He wants off the camera. That's our foster dog, Bandit. He's almost 2 years old. He's a whole bunch of fun. He doesn't like being on camera. He doesn't like being held, really. He likes being cuddled, but the holding part is not so much.
He wants at least his back 2 paws on the ground.
So, anyhow. So, yeah, the all-road is definitely... You can probably, it's like the difference between the High Road Nano and the High Road. I think the High Road Nano was a little bit stronger than the All Road, a little bit smoother. The All Road's really continuous, where the High Road Nano was actually a little bit straighter off the end of the pattern. The Nano Solid is pretty straight off the end of the pattern. Nano Hybrid doesn't really seem to be. It seems to get through the pins pretty good. So pin down Astro will be close-ish. Keep in mind that Code Red is basically a Marvel Pearl too. Yeah, it's basically an ASIM Marvel Pearl. That's really what it was. So need a ball down third game-ish from the Pro Motion. That's hard to say. The Idol Pro is kind of a ball down. Actually, All Road. I think that's what I mentioned something about that. They're similar shapes, but the all-road core gets further down the lane. So I'd actually say a good ball down would be the all-road, since we're talking about, or since we're supposed to be talking about those. I really should have named this live stream something different, because I've talked about pretty well everything but the Evolve and the all-road. But all-road is gonna be a good.
What you would have called it? You stuck on rabbit.
Yeah, I know. I like rabbits. I identify with rabbits.
No, you identify with hamsters.
Anyhow, yeah, the all-road would be a really good ball down from the Pro Motion, because they're similar shapes. The all-road just gets down the lane quite a bit easier. So, yep. All-road versus high-road Nano. I covered that just a little bit. Okay, Ray, I'll get back to you here in a second. I saw this other question first. All-road versus high-road Nano. The all-road is going to be a little bit longer, a little bit stronger, quite a bit more continuous. All the high-road Nano footage I had was on my old camera, and it doesn't look very good. The footage, not the ball. But the The High Road Nano shapes much more like the original High Road. It's just a little straighter off the end of the pattern. The All Road shapes more like the High Road Pearl, and it's pretty round. It's pretty continuous. But you can see the similarities out of the Nano cover. It blends the friction really well. It's not as strong as you expect it to be, and so there's several times where I started out in League, and I just sent it out there, and I expect it to rip back like a High Road, and it doesn't. So it's going to be a good ball for heavy hands. Anybody that likes the high roads is going to like this. And if you had a High Road Nano and you want something similar, this is similar enough. It might even be an improvement on it. So if you like the High Road Nano, this is going to be on the radar. If you like the High Road, it's going to be on the radar. If you want a ball down from the Pro Motion, it's going to be on the radar. Okay, back to not liking the Pro Motion so far for me. What do you recommend? I match up good with the Crux Prime, but not the Pro Motion so far. Again, love the Winter Solid and the Fused. Okay, so Crux Prime, believe it or not, does have more shape, or it has more torque down lane than the Pro Motion. So it's smooth and controllable, but it does have a good amount of, it revs up well, it punches well, it drives well, especially if you have that old guy type of game that you give the ball time to work. The Crux Prime's really good for that. I see it looking really good for heavy hands that like a little bit slower read off the end of the pattern. Still want that mid lane control and get smoother read off the end of the pattern. Or the really straight kind of old guy type of old school game where you just kind of let it go down the board. You don't launch it down the boards, but you just kind of roll it right down the boards. It picks up and drives really well if you give the ball a little bit of time to work. The Pro Motion is a little bit different. It's really smooth. So what I recommend for the Pro Motion, let it lane shine, let it polish up, play a little bit straighter with it, or maybe use it as your ball down from the Crux Prime. One thing, and I'm not saying that you're trying to do this, but most of the time, too many people get a bunch of different balls, and so they'll go in and buy, well, I have this ball now, so I'm going to get this ball to complement it, or I'm going to get this. But if they don't all somehow work on a fresh house shot, you don't like them. So if the Pro Motion doesn't work on a fresh house shot for you, that makes sense, especially if you like the Winter Solid and the Fused. If you like the Crux Prime, Winter Solid, and the Fused, the Winter Solid is going to be the smoothest of the three of those, but it's still going to have some pop down lane because it's a true reactive, so it's going to be more control with a smoother read. The Pro Motion is going to be even earlier and smoother than the Winter Solid. So what I suggest is either shining the Pro Motion up and not expecting a bunch of hook or a bunch of back end movement out of it. But if you're just using it on a house shot, even if you're bowling on something else, I see absolutely zero reason ever to have surface on a Pro Motion. I know it comes that way out of the box, but a lot of people change the surface out of the box before they even get to throw it because a lot of people don't actually like the factory. I like the factory shine. The factory surface is whatever. It's going to shine up in a couple games anyway. And so I like either factory shine or I like lane shine on it. But the Pro Motion is definitely one that looks the best with shine on it no matter what you're bowling on. And if it's not working for what you're bowling on, don't try to force it. If the Crux Prime looks good, the Hypercell Fused looks good. If you happen to get down to the Pro Motion or want to try it, cool. It's just not a very dynamic ball in terms of shape. It's much more a stay out of trouble type ball. So I recommend either polishing it or just letting it lane shine. I much prefer stuff with lane shine on it because it kind of, you don't force the shine onto it. You let it kind of work itself in and get some games on it. Or I can't think of the figure of speech I want to use. You let it kind of wear in. You get some wear on it, and everything eventually is going to match the lane surface. It's going to shine up because the lane surface and oil basically polishes the ball. It's just like changing it with Abralon pads. It's just you're changing it with a shiny lane. And so the surface texture of the lane is eventually going to make the ball surface texture about the same. So normally factory shine balls end up dulling just a hair bit or breaking the shine more than anything, not really dulling it up. And dull balls end up getting polished up. So I would definitely just use it some, go out and put a few games of practice on it, or just keep using it in League, let it lane shine, and the more it shines, the better it's going to look for you, honestly. Let's see. Yeah, your live stream should be called Talking Storm Products and the New Ball. It should just be called live stream rambling, live rambling. It's probably what it should be. Think about getting the promotion to replace my phase 2. What do you think? No. I thought originally, especially after I threw it the first time, I thought, well, this is an improvement on the phase 2 and it replaces the phase 2. So if the phase 2 gets discontinued, I don't care. I quickly found out that while they initially are similar-ish, wildly different applications. I would absolutely not throw the phase 2 in the same scenarios, and I'm interested to see what James thinks about this too. Because at first glance, they seem familiar. They seem kind of similar, but as you use them, totally different situations I'd use them in. Totally different. They could work in the same situations, but lane play, especially for me, would be totally different with them. My phase 2 definitely likes angle a lot better than the promotion. The promotion I would throw. Phase 2 is a little bit harder to throw straighter because it has a decent amount of traction, and even though it's smooth, it still has a decent amount of back end pop. So I tend to use it deeper on the lane. The promotion likes it quite a bit better straighter on the lane. But they'd be on the same condition. They'd just be in different zones on the lane. So yeah, promotion definitely not a phase 2 replacement. I would just get another phase 2, and I know that that's kind of boring, but stuff like the phase 2, I've got another phase 2 in the box down there somewhere. I've got an extra promotion waiting for me. I need to get an extra Crux Prime. Just got another idle pearl. But yeah, definitely promotion and phase 2 can coexist in the same bag, and if you're wanting to replace a phase 2, just get another phase 2. I know it's the boring answer, but where's the mass bias on your pin down Astro? It's right. So basically, it's your typical. It looks like your typical pin up layout. It's just the pin is down instead. The pins under the bridge are kind of under the ring finger, and the pin is down here under my bridge, and then the mass bias is somewhere out here. So it's kind of follows this type of line. So it looks like the typical pin up, mass bias right type of reaction. So it's not super far to the right, but it's going to be a slower back end reaction. Yep, AU is definitely smoother. 3TP is it's pretty angular for a hustle actually. I think the 3TP the AU gets the most attention because it's that gold color that just everybody's drawn to it, and the 3TP is kind of darker, boring colors. 3TP is probably better than most people give it credit for, and I'm interested in drilling one. I just never use it. You only get one cover stock to throw the rest of your life. NRG, Microtracks, or Spec? Definitely Spec. And I like NRG. But Spec, for me, is like a better NRG. But NRG is really good. Microtracks is really good. I really enjoy it. E-Tracks, though, is probably something to think about because the Idle Pro and the Idle Pearl are a couple of the best I've ever thrown. I really hope that Rotogrip does the idle line like Hammer did the Black Widow line. Just keep making idles. Just please. Just make the HP3 line the idle line. Throw something else in there every once in a while. Keep making idles, please. I know Schlemmer's not going to do it, but man, we need idles. I'm going to have idle pros on top of idle pros coming out of my ears, but definitely Spec. Looking like we need a road video. All roads, no pun intended. Ha ha ha. I don't have a High Road X anymore, not getting another one. The last High Road Pearl I drilled was left-handed. I really like that ball. I just don't get far enough down for the high roads. I have a high road. The all road's probably going to get the most use of any high road that I have left. Because it does the things that I like out of the high road. It just blends stuff a little bit better. There's still situations for the high road or the high road T. So I do have a high road Pearl, I guess, but needed at least 10 games on the promotion before I fell in love. Yeah, mine actually looked really good out of the box because I filmed out of the box at Westridge, and it looked fantastic. I was actually throwing it really well in the video, too, and I don't know what happened with that, but it looked fantastic out of the box, but it looks so much better with shine on it. It's amazing with shine on it. Thanks, I agree with the lane shine on the ProMotion. Cool. Yep. Okay. Over under on what? Yeah. Have you thrown the Halo Vision since your review? Nope. I tried it, I think, a couple more times. I knew going in it wasn't going to be the ball because the Halo Pearl I can throw. It's still too strong, but definitely can't throw the Halo on anything. Even when there's oil, it's just quite a bit more strength than I need. Halo Vision, yeah, definitely not. It's just too much ball. I don't need that much ball. The Gravity Evolve, though, is kind of an interesting thing, and it's really because of how Spec reads the lane. I got hair on my frickin'. It's just because of how Spec reads the lane. It's smoother, it's blendier down lane, and the reaction is not so strong or not so sharp. So the Evolve works really well. It's great controllable strength. It gives me traction, and it gives me reaction without too much of either. So yeah, that's awesome. Got to fill my house arsenal. Okay, Techie. Next ball to get they didn't discontinue the Idle Pearl. It's still out there unless something happened here recently that I don't know about. Next ball to get discontinued, I'm sure it's going to be the winner from Rotogrip. That was kind of a failed experiment. It was a cool experiment, and I really like that Schlemmer does stuff like that. Even if it doesn't work out, something really different. And I think it's one of those things that everybody wants different, but then when they get different, they don't like it because it's not the same, which is weird. But the winner definitely has its... When the winner's at its best, it might be one of the best balls out there, period. If you're on a fresh house shot, it's amazing. It's amazing. As soon as you have to move, it's terrible. But between my ProMotion and Phase 2, they're both very similar, but depends on... Okay, yeah. Depends on what part of the lane. Exactly. Phase 2 handles angle better, but I also like the slightly weaker read on the Phase 2, or I think you mean ProMotion. Yeah. Phase 2, definitely the deep angle ball. ProMotion also, again, ProMotion likes to play closer to the pocket better. The Phase 2 likes if you get it out there and give it some angle to come back with. If you play it too close to the pocket, it can be a little flat. But the ProMotion likes it really close to the pocket because it has that round shape that's going to make the pocket bigger. Well, if you get it out too far, though, it's a little slow coming back. So again, it's different zones on the lane and different ways to attack the pocket too. So they're really similar and really different balls all at the same time. So can I fit the Hustle AU with the ink? Yeah, definitely. Hustle AU and ink don't react very similar. Let's see. Watching the last part of the lane as opposed to just getting to the pocket. I'm looking for consistency to level my eyes for 10 pins, but would rather not shoot them. Yeah. Everything with me is shape. Everything is shape. I have a crap load of overlap with hook potential in my bag. So I'll take a Phase 2, I'll take a ProMotion, I'll take an Idle Pro, I'll take the Gravity Evolve, I'll take a Crux Prime, and those are all within a couple boards of each other, but they're pretty different shapes, pretty different applications, pretty different zones. Pearl Spec in the future, I've talked to Chad about that, and he said that, and which makes sense, but when you think of Spec or NRG, that's why they don't use NRG Pearl a whole lot. NRG Hybrid works out really well, and I think Spec Hybrid would probably work out pretty good. But when you think about a Pearl ball, you want long and snappy. So R2S Pearl, again, I was mad about I really wanted NRG Pearl on the astrophysics, but we got R2S Pearl, and it was really the smartest decision because that made it both weaker than the physics and the nice complement with more length, more back in, and a direct step down from the astrophysics, or a direct step down from the physics. Energy Pearl is really early and it's really smooth for a Pearl ball. It's still got some shape to it, but it doesn't shape like your traditional Pearl. So again, like the Spec cover being different from typical reactives, Energy Pearl is early and smooth, and when you're thinking Pearl ball, you don't think early and smooth. You think that with solid balls. And so I don't know if they'll ever get there. That's why we don't see NRG Pearl. You see NRG Pearl and Smooth Pearl overseas just because they get they get so many releases that even if it's not that popular, there's going to be another month and something else is going to be out. So it doesn't make that big of a difference. So they can play with stuff and do Mr. Potato Head a little bit more overseas. But NRG Pearl is a really different reaction. It's not going to be the throw it down, watch it go 50 feet and turn sideways type of ball. It's going to dig in. It's going to act like Nano. So, yeah, like Kenny says, Pearl defeats the purpose of Spec. So probably not going to see Pearl Spec. Probably see Hybrid Spec. I would expect not Pearl Spec, but I'm not sure what they're going to do different for a Pearl because the Intense was kind of hit or miss for a lot of people with R3S Pearl. They've only used it a couple times. The balls it's been on haven't been necessarily that great. I would like to see ERG Pearl come back. I thought that was a really good cover, and I think that's the base formula for E-Trax for Roto Grip. And the Idle Pearl looks really good. I would love to see an E-Trax or an ERG Pearl ball come out in the future in the Premier line, because we have a pretty big gap between the solid formulas and the hybrid formulas right down to the Pearl formulas. And I think you put out another Code Black, people are going to love it. Astrophysics looks really good, but I think that R2S Pearl fatigue will happen, especially in the Premier line. They can keep putting it on Master and Thunderline stuff, but I think it's going to kind of wear out its welcome or get a little boring in the Premier line, so they're going to have to figure something else out for a Pearl cover in the Premier line. Yep. Ooh, yeah. Codex, Sonic, Sherlock, Hypercell, Fused, Undrilled. All right. How's this for an Arsenal? ProMotion, Idle Pro, and Hustle Inc. You're going to have some hook potential overlap with the ProMotion, with the Idle Pro, but you're going to have wildly different shapes. Not wildly different, but different enough shapes to where they're going to fit together really well. Yeah, Spec seems to be too smooth for me. I like my Crux Prime on wet dry blends, and that's the best way to put it. It's not junk, it's not crap, but if somebody says they don't like their Crux Prime, I believe you. If you say you don't like your ProMotion, I believe you. It's really smooth, and that shape is not going to work for everybody. It's not because the cover stock's junk, it's just because it doesn't match up for you. You know, there's people that don't match up to the IQ Emerald, and that's obviously a combination of two proven winners. So what should I try as my big ASIM that's a little quicker and not as smooth? I'm not entirely sure. Aspen, what are you eating, you idiot? The Halo is quicker. It's still kind of smooth. You might actually look at the Evolve, even though it's still got Spec on it. It's quite a bit different Spec, and I think James can speak to this too. Oh man, Chad's watching my live stream, and here I am talking about what he should do with his stuff in the Premier line, probably laughing his ass off. I'm still waiting for my IQ Tour Fury, personally. R3S Pearl on the IQ Tour Core. IQ Tour Fury. I've got it all planned out. Let's see. Actually, if you want a big ASIM, Halo Vision. I just read the next question. Halo Vision would probably be the best thing for you. The Evolve is still it's got quite a bit more shape than either the Prime or the ProMotion. So even though it's still got the Spec cover, the Evolve is kind of a different animal. Low rev high speed player. I have a Halo Vision. I love it. What ball would you ball down to for game 2 to 3 when the lanes start to break down? I also have a Code Red and a High Road Nano. Astrophysics. Physics might be too close. A shiny Physics might be better than an Astrophysics. I just don't think the cover on the Astrophysics has the teeth. So I actually think a shiny Physics would be pretty close. The Halo Vision is a little bit stronger than the Physics. Not a ton. It's noticeable, but would be quite a bit more noticeable if you get quite a bit bigger difference if you shined up a physics. So it would give you the same, or you could just get another Halo Vision and polish it up if you like that reaction. The Code Red, I imagine, is probably not quite enough ball, probably a little bit too smooth. OG High Road is the weakest ball in my bag, and I rarely get to throw it. Yep. New Ball Talk, I'm trying. Yeah, Michael, yeah. OG Physics, yeah, would be another one from James. Yeah, Chad. Favorite overseas ball? Boy, I sure would have liked a Marvel Max Elite. Phase Frenzy, Phase Tour. The High Road T is simple, but it made me a lot of money. Let me see. Super Idol was okay. Turn Domination was okay. I like the Marvel Max SE, the blue and white one. It looks really cool. It smells really good. I love the way it rolls. I don't get to throw it a whole bunch. I need to actually change the grips and get it back in working order because it's a pretty good tournament ball. It's kind of, it would act like what I would think a Spec Pearl ball to act like. Really rolly, really smooth, but it's something you can get. It's very Crux Primey. It's very shiny Crux Primey for me, the Marvel Max SE. So yeah, favorite overseas ball, probably that. Probably the Marvel Max SE. I see a bunch of them. I had another, yeah, the High Road T still goes around with me everywhere, but I'd have to say the Marvel Max SE. But I really would have loved a Marvel Max Elite. Shiny NRG, or NRG Solid. Phase Tour. Man, really wanted a Phase Tour. Was trying to get my hands on a Phase Tour. I really like the look of the Sonic Heat, but I've been banned from throwing Sonics, so that's heckin' unfortunate. Whew. Dual core with Spec. That core is a little wonky. I doubt that they'll use that core again. What ball do you throw down the lane and gains more energy before and use it? I don't quite understand that question. What ball do you throw down the lane that gains more energy before and use it? The Spec kind of winds up. If you give it a minute to kind of build some momentum, it gets really continuous and really strong on the back end. You just have to give it time to wind up. Pete Weber designed bowling ball. What cover and core combo would you suggest? That's actually interesting. Actually, I think the Idol Pro, I'm surprised I don't see Pete using. I haven't seen Pete bowling a whole lot here recently, though. I would have to think that he likes the Idol Pro quite a bit. But he likes big, like, I remember him liking the Optimus. He likes kind of that bigger core stuff. Maybe not asymmetric, but kind of angular, bigger core stuff, because that really, he gets through stuff so well, and he's got such a good release. That something that winds up and then sits there at the pocket for him would be great. So something. Oh man, I don't even know. That's a great question. Honestly, I think the Optimus would just Optimus, Marvel, Pearl, some big core symmetric. Maybe with a little bit cleaner and straighter cover on it. Of course, he won his fifth. The Who Do You Think You Are I Am ball was the Frantic. Of course, he's good enough to use everything, and he likes the High Road quite a bit, I think. Yeah. Timeless core with Spec High. Yeah. Whew. Insight on the Idol Pro. Yeah, the Idol Pro is one of the top 3 roto balls ever, period. The Idol was good and the Pearl was good, but super strong pin down. Definitely, Idol Pro was amazing. Amazing. Devin Bidwell throws the Crux Prime. Yeah, Devin Bidwell is, you want to talk about amazing. Did you polish your promotion? I did not polish it. I let it lane shine, and it is perfect. I don't see any reason to ever have surface on a promotion. I would throw an Evolve with Surface. I'd throw a Prime with Surface. I wouldn't. ProMotion looks so good shiny. I just wouldn't screw with it. Just let it lane shine and leave it there. It's great. Brad Miller throws his a lot. Rono Page did some. Most guys have enough hand that they don't need that much ball. Yeah, pretty much. Crux Prime is not going to be seen a whole lot for the pros. It's just too much ball. It's too much ball. The Evolve, because it's a little bit different shape, they'll probably use. I think you'll probably see some shiny Evolves, but at the same time, most of the PBA Tour guys don't need ASIMs much either. So you don't see. Those are two things you don't really see. ASIM and super strong covers. They just don't need them. Yeah, Pete's bag was Vision IQ Tour Emerald. He probably just packed a bunch of stuff he doesn't throw a whole lot, actually. So if it got lost or beat up on the plane ride, he didn't really care. But yeah, definitely would not expect that trio. Yes, I'm banned from throwing Sonics because they look... The Supersonic doesn't look great for me, but that's a terrible ball matchup for me. I didn't expect to like the Supersonic. I love the Sonic, but I cannot score with it to save my life. It's 10 pins and drive-by 9s and 4 pins and 4 9s and high flush 7s all day long. I cannot score with that core. It's just too much core for me. I love the way that heavier density, the higher density. I love the way that the super dense cores roll. I like the charges back in the day, the depth charge, super charge. I love super, super heavy rolling stuff. But I have enough revs where most of it doesn't look that great for me. I had fewer revs and threw it harder when I was back in the charge era. Now that I like rolling the ball more, Sonics just don't look good for me at all. I love them, though. High Road with Spec. Yeah, I'm sure. I haven't pulled the trigger on asking Chad about a High Road with Spec. I'm sure he's tried it, though. And I'm sure it looks pretty good, but I don't think that Spec is going to make it down that far for a while. It will probably. I'd love to see a phase solid with Spec, a new phase with Spec. In case anybody's still listening here, even though I've told him about it. I would like to see a Spec phase, but I don't think it'll make it down to the Thunderline anytime soon. It's still a new enough cover. We might see a Spec High Road or a Spec like Rocket type ball in the future, but yeah. Do you still think there's no need for the IQ Tour since the ProMotion review? I don't carry an IQ Tour anymore. It doesn't. Here's the thing. It doesn't replace the IQ Tour because they're still two different balls, but I find with the ProMotion, I don't have a need for an IQ Tour. Even though they aren't the same ball, they don't react the same, but the ProMotion does enough. It does enough of what the IQ Tour does and some things better for me that I have no need for an IQ Tour anymore, if that makes any sense. It doesn't replace it, but I don't have a need for it anymore. Do you think the Gravity would be a good replacement to the Codex? Yes and no. The Spec cover is smooth enough and weak-ish enough when you get it shined, but I don't see a whole lot of shape similarity with the Codex and the Evolve. The Evolve has more shape for me than the Codex did, even though R2S Solid should technically have more shape. But that core, the Rad 4 core is super, super strong. It's lower RG, super high differential. So I think the Codex, the core overpowers the cover a little bit. The best replacement would probably be the Halo, but the Halo is several boards stronger than the Codex, so we don't really have a Codex replacement right now. So trade a brand new virtual gravity for Phase 2 at my local pro shop. I've had the ball for years and never drilled it. You think I should have kept it now that the Evolve is coming out just to get it? Nah. A virtual gravity is... well, So you traded the virtual gravity for the phase 2. Maybe. It's one of those things that you could have probably put it on Facebook and sold it for like $300 or something, because an original virtual gravity was a big time ball and really really popular. You probably could have gotten a decent amount. You probably could have gotten 2 phase 2s for it if you'd have traded it somewhere online. But a ball that you're going to throw is worth more than a ball that's just going to sit on the shelf that you're never going to throw. Like, I have a zero gravity sitting here staring at me. I always wanted a zero gravity. Never drilled one, never had one, and now that I have one, I'm still not going to drill it because you just can't. I mean, I just can't. Because I already have so many balls to throw that I would hate to drill it and then not use it a whole bunch. I'd also hate to drill it and then use it a whole bunch and use it up. But it's not doing me a whole bunch of good sitting here on the shelf, other than I can say that I have one. It's more a collector type thing. Okay, have an IQ Tour Emerald. I'm looking for a heavier oil ball, but that could be used on medium conditions too. Would you recommend the Gravity Evolve for a lower speed and lower rev player? Probably not. You could probably get away with going phase 2 with, I mean, even with the lower speed and lower rev, you could probably get by with a phase 2. The Gravity Evolve is going to be several steps up from the IQ Emerald. The phase 2 wouldn't be a bunch of steps up, but it would be enough and have enough traction that I think that you could probably get by with either of them. But with the lower speed, the ASIM part of the Evolve is what kind of worries me there. Spec phase, yup, he's not here anymore, and even if he is, he's just sitting there chuckling to himself. All right, I have exhausted the questions. I have rambled about all kinds of things. Pretty well talked about everything but the 2 new balls here. So I'm going to start renaming the live stream something completely different, because I had a whole agenda of topics, and I probably should have talked about the balls first and then covered the rest of my agenda of topics, because there's going to be people watching this later going, well, I thought we were talking about the new balls, not all this other stuff for an hour and a half. So probably going to cut it off. If anybody has any more questions. Holy crap, I've been talking for 3 hours. Cool. Hasn't felt like 3 hours. I haven't taken a breath, though. Barely taken a drink. If anybody has any final questions, please let me know now. Our viewer numbers have been up pretty high. I've been over 100 viewers for the whole daggone thing. So thanks a bunch for everybody for tuning in. Yeah. If you have some more questions, go ahead and fire them here. I won't be on too much longer, but I can take a few more. Would a bag of Code Black, Match Pearl, Street Fight, Hustle AU sound different? That's a lot of lower end stuff. The Street Fight, even though it was, I believe it was in the Master Line. The fights were in the Master Line, I'm pretty sure. It's still a whole lot lower. You've got one kind of strong ball with the Code Black, and then you've got a lot of low end, got a lot of low end overlap there. So I would actually put a like an Idol Pro in there somewhere. The Idol Pro is one of the more versatile balls that's come out in a while. Like I said, it's top 3 roto ball all time, easy, if not top 2. The cell, some of the stuff in the cell line is going to be hard to beat, and the original Daredevil is really, really good. Of course, the Wrecker, that might be everyone's favorite roto grip ball, is the Wrecker, most people's. So the Idol Pro is easy top 3, probably top 2. But Idol Pro would fit in great in there. So yeah, have a drilling question. Yeah, and James is reminding everybody, Patreon, Discord. So yeah, we have a really, really great group of people over on Discord. Patreon gets you early access to some stuff. It gets you all of my video scripts early, and there's some scripts that I put on Patreon, some articles and stuff, and some tech stuff that doesn't eventually ever make it to YouTube. So I have some extra stuff there and try to share some other stuff from other types of content, other places. But it's $5 a month. It helps me out a little bit with all the, bought a new computer, new so it just doesn't go into my pocket. I spent several $1,000s on equipment this year, and that does help. So I appreciate all my Patreon people, and we have stuff like this live stream constantly. It's every single day, where we're talking and sending ideas back and forth on Discord, and Patreon's more of a gateway to Discord, and kind of just the $5 a month helps me out a little bit, and it also filters out the trolls and kind of toxic people that show up all over the place on Reddit or free sites somewhere, but they're not going to pay the $5 to come screw with a bunch of bowling nerds. So if you're a bowling nerd and that idea sounds good to you, you can also screen stuff. So if you sign up for Patreon, only charges the first of every month. So if you sign up for Patreon right now and you pledge your money, you pledge your $5, it will not get taken out of your account until November 1st. And so you have that 2 or 3 weeks to join, to check it out, to see how you like it. And if you don't, you can rescind your pledge and you won't get charged any money. So if you want to sign up now just to see what it's like, and if you don't like it in a couple weeks, you can cancel and you won't get charged anything. You basically have a whole month of preview if you sign up now. And you'll get into the Discord, and we do have a general chat in the Discord too. So you just search for Storm Nation, all one word, capital S, capital N. We have a general channel that's just for free, so anybody can get into that. We also have the private channel for the Patreon subs. But that's the Discord, Brian, it's a chat server. And so we have like all this stuff. James kind of runs that for me also, as well as managing my live streams. Probably doing more work than I do. I take that back. Well, I don't know. He's put an awful lot of work in here recently putting up with me. My handle in Discord is Princess Luke, and there's definitely a reason for that. Personally, I think James is underpaid. But Discord, it's a private chat server, but it's basically like what's happened in the chat, and we talk about all kinds of things. We have all kinds of different people in there, and it's a really great community. It's really, really good. Really enjoy it. Crux Prime versus Gravity Evolve. Thanks, James, for that. The fights were in the Thunderline with the High Roads. Okay. I couldn't remember. They had a weird enough core that probably, yeah. So, let me see. Thanks for doing these. Best roto ball. Okay. Okay, so you did that. What ball to be compared to a Marvel S right now? Probably the closest thing is the Idol. It shapes a little different, though. Maybe the Supersonic, even though it's hybrid. I would imagine if we see the next solid ball that we see in the Master Line will probably be pretty close. If we don't get a solid Sonic, I would imagine we get a stronger, maybe we get the IQ Nano back. That would be very cool. Or we might get a new, if we got a phase spec, or a spec phase, that would be awesome. So probably the Idol, even though the shape isn't quite right. Thanks, Clowny. Ink's the best roto ball I've ever thrown. That's very serious consideration. Roto makes some of the best low-end ball, the best bang for your buck stuff is Roto makes. They've got the best bang for your buck stuff on the market. I know, I'm working on it. I'm finishing. Idle Pro versus High Road, pretty different balls. I'm coming. I'm not going to be able to finish now. Idle Pro versus High Road, they're not very similar. It's kind of like the differentials are actually closer than when somebody asks me like High Road versus IQ Emerald, which are as opposite as you can get ball design, period. Aside from having the same base cover formula, totally different stuff. Yeah, thanks for doing these. Nice to sit back and listen to bowling discussions for hours. I have a lot of people that tell me that they use my live streams for they're on the road, like their drivers on the road. And it's like, yeah, when I drive for hours, I can just put one of your live streams on, and like, cool. I guess that's good.
Yeah, actually, Ryan said something about that in Discord tonight, and I was like, yeah, you drive, you might make it through 2.5 of them.
Mm-hmm. I've definitely covered everything tonight. And this is probably going to be more what my over the line thing is. It's more me, more often, more unfiltered. So, man,
So I'm going to be sitting there and babysitting.
that could be a really interesting channel. You might be my co-host.
I get a dart gun is all I gotta say.
Hell yes. We got that big Nerf gun that takes like 8D batteries that's fully automatic that might be a whole lot of fun.
I will totally shoot you.
Man, you're my co-host. I might bring some other guys in for just to whatever, but yeah. You're my co-host. You've never seen The Big Lebowski though, so
I saw
yeah.
part of it. We got up to a certain point.
Yeah.
We didn't finish it.
Yeah. Well, you think it's weird though.
I think Dumb and Dumber's weird.
Well, yeah. Idle Pro versus Phase 2, those are a really great pair. I like the Idle Pro with, once it's shined up a little bit, even though it has the sheen on it, so it's nice, it gets a little bit rounder and a little bit better with shape on it, or with shine on it. And the Phase 2, they're really, really great complements. Pretty similar hook potentials, but if one shape doesn't work, the other shape's going to. I mean, really. That's that great pair. NRP is one of the best. Yeah, I've got a new No Rules Pearl in the box. That's one of my super stashes, and along with a Hectic. But I've still got my No Rules Pearl. I really like that one. 3-ball for 2020 Nationals. Man, that's actually pretty easy, believe it or not. Crux Prime, ProMotion, Idle Pro. That's all I'd take. ProMotion actually looks really good on short dry stuff. It's amazing. Like I said, I used it on Broadway, which is 37 foot, and it looked amazing on that. It looked amazing on the team shot from last year. So yeah, definitely. Super easy. Crux Prime to burn the lanes up, ProMotion for most of it. Idle Pros looked really good on singles and double shot, and I think we've established they're not going to change much with that formula. Yeah, and Angel says I do have some public articles on Patreon that you could check out. I've actually got the if you scroll back a little bit, I've got the Dexter the shoe review. My 9HT review is on Patreon. It's been on Patreon for a couple weeks actually. Cool. Roto Grip Grand Illusion. Yeah, that's going way back. What ball can be compared to the Eternal Cell? I don't really know because I really wanted an Eternal Cell. I've never had one. It's kind of a rounder, shiny solid. Once an Evolve shines up, it's probably going to be fairly close, but I can't really think of anything that's Eternal Cell-ish. What would you recommend to replace the skid? Definitely Hypercell fused. Well, yeah, the fused is gone, though. Okay, so yeah, James probably has it. The Halo Pearl will be the closest now. Or if you polish the snot out of the Halo Vision, the shape out of the Halo Vision is very similar, but you've got to super shine it. So Halo Pearl is close-ish. Probably Halo Vision with a crap load of polish. If you mirror shine a Halo Vision, that's going to be the closest you can get to the skid. Okay. Pro Shop just tried drilling me a 2-inch pin White Hot Badger and has been really good with that layout so far. What should I put that layout on next to complement it? I would think a 2-inch pin. We were talking about this the other day, actually, on Discord. Another plug. Idle Pro, I think, would look amazing with a shorter pin on it because it's got that really rolly shape that makes the pocket wide and still gets the pins down. And so I think the Idle Pro has the kind of motion that would look great with a shorter pin. Where would the astrophysics fall? The Astro is not going to be very close to the skid at all. Ryan, Idle Pro filled my need for a benchmark ball, but does move pretty hard on the back end. Hustlink's a little cleaner, but will move a little strong on the back end too. Suggestions? For something with that kind of shape. And I'll probably talk to you later about this, Ryan, but I would imagine that a pin down version of either two of those would probably work out well. You don't have the type of game that I would really suggest a promotion for, but you're kind of sounding promotion-y. Or maybe actually IQ Emerald. Yeah, phase 2 is still strong, Ryan, but I think that you could handle the phase 2 also. You talk about the all road. I did talk about it some earlier, despite, yeah. The all road is kind of similar to the high road nano. It's rounder, it's more continuous, not quite as strong. It's basically like if you took a high road pearl and you sanded it up. That's pretty close to an all road. It's not quite as strong as you expect it to be, especially down lane. So it fits in the thunder line with the other high roads. It's not like super strong. It'd be good for heavy hands. It's a nice ball down from the Idle Pro or the Pro Motion. All right, I'm trying to finish this up quicker here. 5-ball Arsenal looking to add one more. I have the code red, phase 2, hustle gold, pink hammer. What would you add? I would add something in the middle. Maybe an all road, actually. All road would be a pretty good ball down from the phase 2. High road would probably be a little bit too far down. And the all road is versatile enough that you could leave it with the surface on it, which Chad likes. I like stuff a little bit shinier, but I think the all road actually does look better with surface on it. So Jesse, I would say all road, actually. I'm not trying to really push the new stuff, but it fits. Let's see. Sherlock Idle Pro phase 2 to add which one first? Wrecker. That other stuff is good, but you'd have all kinds of overlap. Wrecker. Do you have to change the layouts on the weaker stuff? No, I don't mess with, and most of the pros don't either. They stick with a couple different layouts, and they use the different balls to give them their different reactions. So there's a lot of people that will do different balls, but they try to drill them. Like if they get a strong ball and a weaker ball, they try to drill the strong ball weaker and the weak ball stronger to make them as similar to each other as possible, which doesn't make any sense. Because everybody wants different stuff, but they want different stuff. But they want stuff to be different, but they want it to all be usable on a house shot, which doesn't make any sense. But how quick was the all road to a winner or normal high road? The all road, it's not terribly similar to the winner. The winner's earlier and about as round, but it's weird. Normal high road, the all road is closer to high road pearl in shape. So try the fuse to replace the skid, same numbers, but it wasn't close. Interesting. Probably a layout thing, maybe a cover change, but the fuse is really close to the skid in ball reaction terms, so that sounds weird. Really enjoying the stream tonight. Chat's been great too. Solid questions and answers. Cool. Steven, again, I'll plug Patreon and Discord again. We have a chat server over on Discord, Storm Nation. If you want to search for it, capital S, capital N, all one word. Storm Nation. The same type of stuff happens there daily. And Patreon. Huh? Yeah, scroll back up in the chat. James shared a bunch of links for that. So if you like this brand of stuff, Patreon's $5 a month for some extra content there. And if you want our private chat server, we also have a general chat server on Discord as well. That's free to get into. So if you like this kind of stuff, go sign up for it. Where on the block would you use this balls in long or short patterns while transitioning? Let's see. Where in the block? Evolve would be a game one straight out the blocks. Okay, straight out the on longer stuff, heavier stuff. And all road would be like a ball, like a 4-ball There's several other balls that fit in between that and the Evolve. I'd go down to probably an astrophysics, and then like a phase 2 or an Idle Pro, and then we'd get down to the all road. So from Singapore here, sweet. ProMotion, a good benchmark ball. Yeah, 14.5 miles an hour. Slower speed, higher revs. I'm slower speed, higher revs, and the ProMotion is my benchmark ball. And if you like the timeless, the two-hand, oh yeah, you'll like the ProMotion. Definitely will like the ProMotion. Yeah. Yeah, ProMotion, out of all of those you mentioned, ProMotion definitely. What kind of a kick-ass chair do you have? It's kind of like a DX Racer. It's kind of a off. I know it says Halo series, but it's pink and it's got like butterflies and it's obnoxiously pink and really cool. But yeah, it's a gaming chair. It's an off-brand gaming chair, but it's really cool. It's really comfortable. It's got this nice little, you can't see it, but it's got one of these down behind my back here, so it's got lower back support, so I can just kind of sit here and it's amazing. Love how you bowl with Angel as I bowl with my wife. Yep, we bowl a league on Fridays, and we're going to go actually bowl on Sunday. We have a demo too, but yep. Okay, I've gotten to the end of the questions. It's time to go to bed. I've been doing this for 3 hours now. Throat's getting a little sore. If you have any more questions, leave them on videos, and I'll get to them. If you post them on here, they're going to get lost. So either post them on this when it posts, or post them on other videos. Just pick a random video. I don't care. Code Black. Last question. Have a Code Black. I love it. Just got the phase 2. It flips too much for me. What would you suggest that would be close to the Code Black? There's not a whole lot of stuff that's close to the Code Black right now. Astrophysics pinned down, maybe. Probably not. Yeah, there's really not anything that's close to the Code Black. Now, if the phase 2 flips too much for you, yeah, thanks everybody for showing up. Awesome. Oh yeah, thanks from Melbourne, Australia. Sweet. If the phase 2 flips too much for you, ProMotion would be the ball to go to. So, thanks everybody. Appreciate it. Rambled forever. Appreciate the donations from people. Appreciate if you show up on Patreon, Discord. Appreciate you just being here in general and listening to me ramble at a camera for 3 hours. So thanks a bunch, everybody. We will see you next time. Thanks again, James, for running everything, like usual.